girls.
Bad. Who started the
know,
podcast laughing like this?
Listen, let me tell you something. You know it was good when your ass went to a high-end hotel. The moment that your ass went there, like, you didn't even go, like, most people would just go to, like, the second floor and be done. Your ass went to floor 6.
All right, in the context of this, we'll get to that in a second, because Junior just started it off, but we got to start the tradition. Like, Junior, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I'm drinking some Fireball, and that's a very bad idea.
And Coke Zero. And Susan, you got nothing?
I'm not drinking tonight.
Why not? What the hell? It's fucking late. Wait.
No, I finished off that entire bottle of wine last night.
That was last night. It's not tonight.
Oh.
So?
Oh, dear God.
That was 1.5 liters of wine.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Is that all gone now?
Oh, the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple.
I
came in, there was a quarter bottle that now resides in my cup.
All right, that's fine. I made you last night. I got one glass of Jack Daniel's Apple because Al fucking stole my shit. But
yo,
I can't blame
the
him.
way that he was pouring it into his blue cup, like he was pouring it like it was about to drink some Kool-Aid. Like this man, he was like he was pouring that Jack Apple. He was like, all right, you know you got just enough sugar in that bitch.
The Fleshman's vodka is halfway done. Okay, I got Coke Zero.
Yo, stop drinking that underage fucking kid liquor, man. What is wrong with you?
He's like, it's rubbing alcohol. Like, damn,
it's
man.
like Jesus Christ. It's like Fleshman's. It's almost as bad as Crystal Palace. The fuck's wrong with you? God damn. What is wrong with you in this cheap ass liquor?
That's a good Saturday night. But today at work I listened to 3 episodes back to back, and like anything I've always said, if you guys want to add stuff later, and sometimes, you know, in the heat of the moment, you don't think of things. They come up later. So just real quick for me, and you guys can toss in what you want. When I was listening to episode 4 and Junior was talking a lot about accountability, and just like at the end of the day, it comes that cliche, like The Watchmen, the TV show, the comic book, the movie. The premise of The Watchmen was like, who watches The Watchmen? Or like, you know, who polices the police? Who governs the government? So that's definitely, you know, an age-old question. And like you were breaking down accountability, man. It's like who decides this shit? But episode 5, we did a whole shit ton of stuff about racial stuff and interracial. And one thing I just wanted to add to that was like re-listening to the way I was breaking stuff down. You know what's funny is that like we were breaking down the animal kingdom and stuff and species and everything. Take like a common house cat, for example. Cats are in the same family as like a lion or a tiger. They can't impregnate each other. They can't intermingle and stuff. Every once in a while, you can take a wolf and a dog, but it's very uncommon. And just different species in the animal kingdom. What's the thing with a donkey? A donkey is a horse and a mule, right?
Yeah. A horse and a donkey is a mule.
Mule, yeah, and a mule is like a kind of a abomination by nature because mules can't procreate. That's where like the line ends. So when it comes,
I think I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. We have to do some more research. But I think it's the male of the species that can't procreate, and the females could get pregnant or something like that. I might be wrong. I might be thinking of a different animal.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's just it's a point of like those are 2 animals that shouldn't exist. I mean, well, they shouldn't be procreating and stuff. So just like to recap all of episode 5, I thought about this more. When people have a problem with like, you know, interracial stuff and racism, what's really comical about that is like, for argument's sake, say Junior, he impregnated an Asian woman. It's not like, you know, his kids are going to have some kind of like massive genetic defect. Like, oh, my kid's going to come out with like 10 fingers or 10 fingers, 12 fingers. Or like, if I pregnant a black woman, my kid's going to be born with like no legs. Like the fact that humans as a species, we can, in a sense, like, you know, there's no barrier stopping interracial relationships. Anybody can be with anybody. So it's that much more of a thing from a genetic and evolutionary standpoint. What is your bullshit? You know, it's like,
it's all human construct.
You know what's almost even kind of funny is like, I'm a massive fan of Blade and Wesley Snipes and shit. And I know it's like a poor example, but like I said, there are different races do have some genetic strengths and genetic weaknesses. Like our friend Mark, for example, because he is. It's hard saying Mark is only Mark is a ginger, but like, you know, and everyone knows too.
Oh God, he has no soul.
Yeah,
God hates him.
But like you're saying,
God definitely hates him.
But man, kind of to what you're saying, Al, and stuff too. And it's not a prime example, but I'm just saying the fact that a person like Mark, because he's Irish and where he's from, his climate and shit, so the genetic weakness of those people is they can't handle the sun, they can't handle the heat. Mark, we actually went to Great Escape with him. He legit gets straight fucking sun poisoning to the fact where like he'll be sunburned for like a week and shit, and that can kill you. So I'm just saying, like, you know, if you took a person that was essentially, say, like, you know, of 2 different mixes, say you took a kid that was half black, half Irish, for example, the genetic, like, you know, faults that Mark would have and shit, so those probably wouldn't get passed down to their kids because their kids were born. His kid would have an advantage that he wouldn't have because he's mixing with a person that's of African heritage, for example.
Oh yeah, this is the thing with when it comes to nature. Genetic diversity breeds a better animal.
Yeah,
you'll notice that whenever there's like weaknesses in animals and you leave them to themselves, they will on their own breed out the weaknesses.
Yeah,
like, especially if they have to live in certain climates. That's how animals adapt to certain places.
Exactly.
And in humans, it's the same thing. Genetic diversity is key. That's why when you hear people saying things like, let's keep the race pure, let's not mix or whatever, that's folly. It's stupid. If you want to live, if you want, as a race, us to survive, genetic diversity is key. We have to intermingle. It has to happen.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, too. Him being allergic to the sun. That's a personal defect.
Very much so.
He's like a damn vampire. Throw garlic on that motherfucker.
It is, though. It's just like, I was mentioning sports and stuff, too. I didn't even like re-listening to episode 5 and 6. We just say that. So you said you took a kid that was from Africa and you did raise him as from a baby in like Alaska, for example. He would be naturally better to be raised to play hockey, for example, but still genetically he would always be at a disadvantage because his body, and this is through generations and evolution, his body still would have trouble adapting to a cold environment versus like if he was naturally raised in like say Africa.
It's not that his body will have difficulty adapting to a cold environment, is that he'll have a harder time than the people who are naturally there. It doesn't mean like he'll have a hard time, it's just that they'll have an easier time.
Yeah.
So like the only thing that he has in him that alters him genetically is that he's more melanin. And that's not necessarily a defect per se. That melanin is specifically designed to keep you cool in hotter temperatures. So,
and where something like that's concerned, like process of elimination, like him having children over time, his children will be more adaptable to Alaska rather than
If he was to like have a child, especially with an Alaskan native or a white person in Alaska, that child is now more genetically diverse, so they will have a way easier time there than he ever did.
Or say him and a white, not just a white woman, but another black woman and an African woman, something along those lines.
Well, it's like Al was saying for the most part, human beings, we are essentially animals, just like any other animal across this planet. And so we have flaws, we have genetic traits, weaknesses, like Al would say too. Anybody who wants to breed a purebred of an animal, like a dog or horse or something, there are usually some flaws. Most dogs, different species, people will not get certain dog species based on like what their weaknesses are and shit.
So. The whole concept of a pure breed of any dog is that's on its face is nonsense, because there was so much genetic altering done to change dogs into what they are now. Like dogs, like 90% of the dogs on the planet are descended from wolves, and there are other breeds of wild dogs and dingoes and stuff. And most domesticated dogs are descended of wolves, but they look nothing like wolves, and that's specifically because of human interference, right? Yeah. So it's a whole different thing than just natural adaptation and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because episode 6 we touched on a lot of stuff. I'll just break it down real quick to like a note thing. Junior was talking about people and their selective responses, and he's 100% right. I've seen it on Facebook myself or like YouTube. It's like someone will make an opinion on something. I'll break down 5 reasons why your facts are wrong or your opinion is wrong. And the funny part, as Junior would say about selective responses, is like, well, facts 1 and 3, I'm going to dispute you on. Yeah, but what about 2, 4, and 5?
It's because if you're already right about something, they're not going to dispute it. If they feel like that they can dispute something from what you said, they're going to pick the things that they can dispute you on and pretty much in a sense ignore everything else. Yeah. Like I got into it, for example, I'm going to keep this quick. Got into an argument with this one girl about, everything with COVID-19, because she says that she's in the medical field, that everything else that everybody else said doesn't matter and nobody else can have the knowledge that she has because she's in the medical field. Right. Damn. So I called her out on it, right? And when I called her out on it and stuff like that, she wants to nitpick, because I posted a bunch of things in this comment on a post that I posted about on Facebook, but she wants to pick certain things that I said and make it seem like that it was about her.
Yeah.
And it's funny that, you know what I'm saying? Like she's so stuck up and so full of herself that she literally went out of her way to in a sense, throw out there that, you know, all these medical terminologies and stuff like that. Like, okay, I can pick up a book and throw medical terminology on Facebook too. You don't need to be a medical expert to know about COVID-19. Like, you just need to do some research on the internet and you found it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to have a PhD to know about COVID-19. But the point of the matter is just that people, especially like her, that feel entitled to possess certain amounts of information, will only come at you for certain things. Like, for example, Chris had a review on a movie, and I watched it. I watched him, like, literally type this out to this person. Yeah. And I don't remember exactly what the movie was. I know it was, like, politically...
we're talking about Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. It was and basically, Chris's argument was the fact that there's too many movies that pushes the political agenda that it takes away from the quality of the movie. And this guy was arguing with him, calling him a racist and things like that off of little segments of things that he said without understanding the entire context. Yep. And that's the idea of selective response.
That's our trigger culture, too. Because like Al would say about even people...
Pussy culture, not trigger culture.
Yeah. But people listening to this podcast, especially, which I'll get into in a second, some stuff that Al was saying, I've noticed that over the past 5 podcasts that sometimes all 4 of us do this, and Jen would do it as well. Sometimes we are repeating ourselves. I notice for me that sometimes when I do repeat myself, I'm not repeating myself for the sake of trying to get a point across. It's because that you said somebody may hear something that I said, or they might not get the point across or understand where I'm coming from. So it's like, because people love to take shit out of context. So it's like, I feel like I have to say something a second time or just hit home and get the point across of why I said this the way I did for. And I'll get to what Al said in a second. Like Al was mentioning too a lot about how people, you know, they ignore facts because something makes them feel a certain way. And I've become a massive fan over the past 6 months, ever since he was on Joe Rogan's show. But like, I showed it to Junior, Susan, my mother, and Ben Shapiro. Love Ben Shapiro, but like, you know, do I agree with every single little thing he says? No. However, I've seen Ben Shapiro on YouTube, and the way he comments and the way he just destroys his fucking college kids, I watch it repeatedly just out of pure comedy. But one of the best things Ben Shapiro says, and these college kids, they hate this shit because they're almost like what Al was saying. Ben Flout says that, look, facts don't care about your feelings. Simple as that.
It's true.
So when these people, when they break down the whole trans issues, Ben will break down from a genetic standpoint, a scientific standpoint. He breaks down numbers, facts, and he flat says, he goes, like, would Ben... how do I feel about these facts and the way people feel? And Ben says it. He said in every YouTube video and every college campus, facts don't care about your feelings. So, but like Al said in episode 5, even though it's like they will, because I feel a certain way about this fact, you can feel a certain way about 1 + 1 = 2. It still equals 2. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it.
People are going to feel some type of way about anything you say. It doesn't matter really what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what context you try to put it in. People are going to put things into their own context. And that's just what it comes down to. Like, people are going to listen to what you say, and they're going to dictate how you mean by what you said, even if you meant something totally different. Yeah. That's just how people are. It's unfortunate, but that's really how people are. And that's where a lot of arguments come in. That's where a lot of, you know, in a sense, even sometimes fights come in, because of the fact that people just take things completely out of context and don't actually take the time to understand where the next person is coming from. Yeah. And that's why opinions aren't as valued in this generation, and we're so divided for it, is because it's because of the fact that nobody values each other's opinions, because it's like either I'm right or you're an asshole.
Yep. To get back to what Al was telling too, this is why I said some of my favorite comics of all time, but damn sure Dave Chappelle. And I know we've all seen this, but I have to reiterate the skit that he did when Al was breaking down women and dressing a certain way in empowerment. And you guys all probably remember when Dave Chappelle was talking about, you know, oh, I'm at the club and stuff too, and I don't want, you know, men to feel like I'm a slut. And Dave was like, okay, fair enough. You don't want people to be a slut. However, if you go out and you dress a certain way, people are going to think you are a certain way. He goes, doesn't help the fact that you dress like this. And Dave ended the segment, and the entire audience was roaring, where Dave's like, okay, don't want to dress like a slut, want to be treated equally, no problem. Excuse me, officer, what's up? I need your help because I'm in trouble. Oh, sorry, I'm not an officer. I just dress this way. The whole audience was fucking going nuts. I'm not a cop, I just dress like one. Dave's like, you know, if you don't want to be considered or treated like a fucking slut, don't go out and dress like that as well. Mm-hmm. You know, and the way Dave broke that down was fucking hilarious, and everybody loved it. So.
I didn't get the comment on this when we were talking about that, when we were talking about the rape culture in a sense like that, and how Al was saying that at some point in time women need to take responsibility to an extent, to a really restricted extent, but to an extent. And I'm going to say, and my comment on that is just that, to me, I've hung out with plenty of women when I went out to the club. When I went out to house parties, when I went out to all these places, right? Just about any other place that you can throw a party, I've hung out with a lot of females, right? And yes, they do dress a certain way because they want to either dress to impress, they're dressing to go out to either hook up, they're dressing to go out for whatever reason, or they just want to look nice. But regardless of the reason that they want to dress up for, and then when they want to dress up, my personal feelings on that is just that it's never okay regardless. It's just like, you can't, even if a woman goes out of her way to look nice, even if she's wearing a short dress, she's wearing a low-cut shirt and her titties are poking out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And a guy sees that. You know what I'm saying? And a guy who's, that guy goes out there and rapes that girl. You know what I'm saying? It could be any guy can rape a girl. You know what I'm saying? Shit, any girl can rape a girl. Any, girl can rape a guy. You know what I'm saying? It's not just directed toward women getting raped, but it's just the fact that it's never okay. No. Regardless of the situation. Times, yeah, it's never okay. Like, it's just like, even if you put yourself in a situation for that to happen, and it's just like, damn, you went out there and you're like, let's say you're on Lark Street. Like, there was a story about what happened at Lark Tavern that actually led to a stabbing, where this girl was getting sexually assaulted by this guy. You know what I'm saying? And come to find out, this guy actually had, a history of sexually assaulting women. Like, he had a history of that happening. And, he got stabbed for it. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I don't feel bad for the guy.
Nobody does.
You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I don't feel bad for the guy at all getting stabbed for that. You know what I'm saying? Some people would be like, oh, there was no reason to stab him. Like, that's why you have police officers for and stuff like that. By the time the cops actually responded to that situation, not only would he have gotten away, but she would still be damaged from it. You know what I'm saying? The damage would have been done. There would have been no justice for it. Mm-hmm. I feel like at times when it comes to situations like that, we need to start taking the law into our own hands. And not in a way that's going to get us arrested, but in a sense that we can defend ourselves to not have to go through shit like that.
Yeah. And this is also too, so we're going to have a lot of people listening to this that are friends and family of ours. My mother's been listening to stuff and catching up on it. And last night, before we recorded the other podcast, we're outside and, this is a prime example of what we're trying to get across. Mom was like, she may, in the past, she's had a few conversations with Al, and she's even said that initially I may not agree with him or understood his point. After talking to him, she's like, you know what? I never actually thought about it that way. I never understood it that way. She's been listening to the podcast, and when I was talking about, she was breaking down to last night, my friend Elliot, my cousin Susan, and I can tell Junior and Al, because they're here right now, Mom was talking about, or, listening to what Al was saying. And Mom was like, I, for most part, agree with them, because here's a prime example. Mom said, whether you know this band or not, or no rock bands, the 80s and 90s were massively known for just, groupies, orgies, etc., etc. Mom, with my Aunt Terry at 17 years old, came to Albany, she met Def Leppard. Def Leppard, whether you know them or not, too, they're a pretty still relevant band, massive in the 80s. She met Def Leppard, and of course, like anybody, they invited her, my aunt, and a bunch of women to...
It was Van Halen.
She said, I thought she said Def Leppard.
She was talking about Def Leppard, but that story is Van Halen.
Yeah, so the point was, the band, like, back in the fucking day, invited my mother, my aunt, and a bunch of fucking women back to the hotel room. They asked her, do you want to come with us? And she said, to this day, she has friends like, Nancy, you should have fucking went. You could have fucked Van Halen and stuff. And she's like, you know what? Even back then, and, like, this was, 79, 80, some shit like that, because it's before I was born. This had to be in the late 70s.
Late 70s, yeah.
But Mom said, the point is, even at 17 years old, she goes, I knew, your Aunt Terry fucking knew. If we go hang out with these guys, they're a major rock band, we know what they're all fucking about. They're not inviting us back to their hotel room to hang out and fucking paint nails. We know exactly what they want, what they're fucking about. We turned them down. And so it's like, so she's like...
They had to work in the morning.
But also, too, but she knew that her and Terry knew what was going to happen. Simple as that. She goes, there's no way in hell fucking, like, the number one rock band in fucking America, if they're inviting you to the hotel room, you're getting read between the lines. Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I said she listened to what Al was saying. She goes, no, I'm sorry. This is, as a woman, I fucking agree with them. Like you said, Sue, before, there's been situations where it's like, if you go to your job and stuff, too, and the head boss wants to invite you back to his hotel room during, like, say you guys go to a fucking, whatever, meeting or something too, or like you guys, you go out of town and shit too, and you've heard through the grapevine this guy is known for acting a certain shady way, you know, and everyone's like, Sue, if this guy talks to you, don't fuck with him, you know. Next you know, it's like you and one of your friends go up to this hotel room, and it's like you knew walking up there that could have been avoided if you just didn't go up there, and just don't at some point have some self-awareness. But like I said, even mom at 17 years old, she's 60 years old now. She was back in the 70s. We fucking knew even back then. It's like we weren't fucking stupid, you know. So, and that's the whole point that Al was trying to break down was just like, not so much victim blaming, but like, don't 100% act like, you know, most of these situations, they could have been avoided if you would use some sort of like self-awareness.
Well, to be clear, I am a victim blamer.
It's pissing people off.
Not that all victims are to be blamed, but some victims are. Some victims deserve partial blame. I'm not going to say that they are 100% at fault, and they're, you know, like I said, no woman deserves rape, and no woman deserves to be violated in that way. But if you can avoid it, you can't prioritize stupidity or fun or whatever frivolous excuse you want to have over being safe. You have to be in charge of your own safety. Like, one thing that women should understand is that most men on this planet will protect you from a rapist, but there are rapists. They exist. You can't live your life acting like all men is going to conform to the law. Criminals exist. They do. You know, it's as simple as most men will protect you. No, men don't want women they associate with to be raped or violated. Men think of things from the standpoint of, what if this was my mother, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my daughter, my niece? That's how the average guy thinks of it. So men don't want women in danger or violated. But, like I said, rapists exist. They're out there. They rape women. They're you know, just a nuisance that exists in the world that women occasionally have to deal with. Like, to say nuisance is not even fair. There are fucking an atrocity that exists in the world that women have to deal with. And it happens. And the thing that bothers a lot of men is that women will do two things. First of all, they neglect to take accountability for the things that they do. And then when something bad happens to them, they say, oh, look at what men did to me. They blame all men. They generalize. And that's so unfair to most men, because most men will protect you from a rapist. A man will never see you in danger and be like, I'm not going to stop this guy from doing this to this girl. Like, men always think of it in terms of, if she was mine in any way, if she belonged to me, if she was my daughter or my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my niece, if she was mine, I would hurt this guy for her. That's how most men see it. So it's like, men aren't out here, you know, feeling like women should be raped or violated. We're not. Most men will protect you. Most men will fight for you. If most men on a jury stand will convict a rapist, most men that stumble across an act of rape will hurt that man that's trying to rape you. That's just a fact. But those rapists still exist, and they do dirt. They go hang out in the nightclubs. They hang out in dark alleys. They hang out at parties. They go to college parties. They do all types of wild shit. And women know that these guys exist. And you tell a woman, yo, be safe. Don't go to this place. Don't dress this way. Don't draw this attention. And women will give you the craziest excuses or the craziest reasons why they should be able to. And you have to acknowledge at that point, like, you're putting yourself in serious danger of being hurt in a way that's going to affect you physically and psychologically for the rest of your life. Because anytime a woman is violated in that way, it changes her permanently. And you're risking that for a night of fun. And it doesn't make sense to me. Like, a lot of women like to give like the same spiel. I have the right. And I always go back to my default argument of, just because you have the right doesn't mean you should do it. You have the right to put yourself in danger, but should you? You have the right to do whatever you want, but just because you can, should you? Why not protect yourself? Why not be safe?
You know? That's like I was saying before. I have the right to, like, you know, fucking go grab a Ku Klux Klan outfit and run down Delaware Avenue in Albany and
But is it smart? You know, is it a smart thing to do?
Good luck with that, asshole. So, and I'm a massive fan of top comics like Chappelle, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr. When Bill Burr, during his Paper Tiger special on Netflix, did that entire segment about women and this culture and like how, like, in court, how things get said on paper versus how they say it, I highly recommend watching Bill Burr, because Bill Burr broke down that whole situation. Sue watched it with me, and we were laughing our fucking asses off. How well Bill broke that down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh man. Speaking of laughing your ass off, man. Boy, do I got a story for you.
Let me get into it because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. That we had it. So I've got. We have no sound effects, so I would do an echo effect of like Chris's prison stories, and I've got
please don't do
Chris's prison story.
I've gotten so many. I've gotten so many of them. One of my favorite ones, which I can talk about, is I talked to Junior a few times about this, Susan a little bit. Al not that much. Is that when you go to jail, guys? Like many people on the outside and the street, a lot of us have nicknames. I just never had one for whatever reason. It's not my kind of way. Some people, though, you meet all kinds of colorful individuals in prison. I've always said this, Junior, depending on where he was at, he would have ended up in a fucking straitjacket. Like, he just wouldn't be able to handle prison because when I was up in my honor dorm, which is D2, there was this individual that everybody called Yum Yum.
Oh, fuck.
Now, there's a reason that they called him Yum Yum for. For me to describe on the outside what the dish of yakisoba is, I've tried looking it up in what prison yakisoba is and what actual yakisoba is. You can't even comparison. So when you go to mess, a lot of times when you go to chow in a mess hall, you just go there because every meal you get 4 pieces of bread. You'd walk to the mess hall, get your 4 pieces of bread and walk out. This yakisoba, it's like eating noodles mixed with cardboard, mixed with some kind of like sauce. I don't know. But like Yum Yum would sit there by himself and people would walk by and they would give him his portions. Imagine this like 500-pound fat guy with like 2 fucking feet of like bootleg ghetto jail yakisoba, and thanks guys. He stuffed his fucking face and like, Jesus Christ. Then he'd walk back to the dorm and pound down like 12 pieces of bread, and you're like, holy shit. This is in my life.
Bottomless pit.
This is in my lifetime. I lost 85 pounds going to prison. This man kept gaining weight every month I was seeing him to the point where this is the biggest human being I've ever seen in person in my life. And not big because he was muscular by any means. The funny part was, when we would sit there and be at nighttime, because we lived in a dorm, you had cubicles, everyone had their own dorm, and this is the term of sleep apnea. This is like massive sleep apnea to the point where it's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and guys are laughing when you're just hearing, and then a couple of seconds go by, you're laughing, a couple of seconds, and just like, oh, Jesus Christ, you're a guy in the background, goddamn. It's like, and then was 5 minutes would stop because he stopped breathing because he was fat. Then then one time no bullshit, the CO walked over. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Eyes all bloodshot. He just kicked the fucking bed. Fat ass. He's like, stop snoring. Like, if Junior's seen this guy, I can just fucking picture Junior going up there. It's been like 3 days. Junior hasn't fucking slept. His eyes are all fucking
Junior be in the hole for beating the shit out of this guy. Jump on him in the middle of the night with a sock and a fucking bar of soap. Like, you son of a bitch. I'm trying to fucking sleep, you piece of shit.
Okay, all right. You guys act like I'm on some mission to like beat the shit out of every fat person.
If you would have met Yum Yum, they would have fucking locked you in a fucking straitjacket. Like, I'd walk by the hole and hear Junior just screaming from the background like, he's so fat. He's so disgusting. Now, I was friends with Rich. Rich was the laundry porter. Yes, in jail, we have different jobs. You have gym porters, laundry porters, guys working the mess hall. Because we had basically 60 cubicles it was in a dorm setting. So it's like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is the left side of the dorm. And obviously Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is right side of the dorm. The laundry porter would do laundry all week because nothing else to fucking do. And one time we're sitting there talking and bullshit, and he goes, yeah, Chris, he goes, fucking Yum Yum, man. I was like, yeah, what? He goes, Chris. And Rich had the look of like part terror, part like disgust in his fucking face. He goes, Chris, you don't understand, man. I have to wash the man's fucking underwear. He's like, Chris, he's like, looks at me, he's like, you don't understand, man. The skid marks I see every time I throw his laundry in. Now, despite what you may think, at least it's been 10 years. I doubt it's changed since then. But I had the cliche of going into prison thinking everyone's buck-ass naked and there's gay shit going on. Actually, at least when I was in prison, guys would wear boxer shorts. If you went to take a shower naked, you were like, people looked at you like you were fucking stupid. Like, why are you coming naked for? Like, everyone would wear boxers. So it's like, all right, cool. So you're sitting taking a shower, washing up, talking. We're basically apart from like me to Al or Al to Susan. The showers aren't next to each other. It's a pretty big shower room. They're like 4 feet apart. So you get somewhat privacy. You have conversations going on. Next thing you hear, hey guys, what's going on? You're look over and you see the corner, turns the corner, here comes Yum Yum. The only motherfucker in the entire prison not wearing underwear. Just coming in buck-ass fucking naked. The problem is, if you ever watch Family Guy and see Peter Griffin, it was like a live-action version of Peter Griffin, because if he had a dick and balls, you had no idea, because all it was this massive belly hanging down past his fucking kneecaps and shit. And you're looking over like, and you're all of us are laughing our asses off because he's so fucking fat. Like, you have nothing to do but to laugh. And you're like, you know what, guys?
Throw up on you in a second, Chris.
I fucking cringe.
So he starts taking a bar of soap. Hey guys, I'm like, you know, guys, I'm out of here. I have a good day and stuff. I'll see you later. So Rich was telling me, he's like, Chris, so you know about Yum Yum, right? I was like, what? He goes, Chris, the man can't wipe his ass. Yeah. He's too fucking fat. So I'm like, yeah. So he's like, I called him a couple times. He'll wait, he'll look around, he'll make sure that the shower gets emptied in the prison. And he goes, Chris, you understand what he does? I'm like, Rich, what's going on? He goes, no. He's like, he'll wait till everybody fucking leaves. He's like, he takes the fucking nozzle, he faces the nozzle, he turns around, and he goes, he's got to bend over. He's like, Chris, for Christ's sakes, he's like, he's got to sandblast his ass.
Fucking nasty.
Like, Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
I was like, fucking Junior said Junior would have fucking lost his shit.
All right. We got to get this out of the way that I don't hate all fat people, okay? I said this before. It's inconvenient fat people that piss me the fuck off.
Oh, he was inconvenient, all right.
Okay? It's just, like, I was in Five Guys. Every time I tell this story, I get even more
Before you tell
mad.
that, I saw, this is my last one for the day. I told Junior this story, is that when you first get to the prison you're going to, they have to do the prison intake and the processing. It's a long fucking process. They don't care. And you're sitting there, you and a couple guys, you're waiting. New guy comes in and stuff too. He's got the shackles, the handcuffs, and you're waiting. And this second, I was like my first day in fucking prison, and Junior's is always stuck in my head for some reason. And I just could hear Junior doing this shit. So me and the three guys are waiting and stuff too. The guys over in the other room got the shackles on, and all you hear is a little like, the CEO, and the CEO might have had a bad day, could have been upset, I don't know, but you just hear, what? Like that, all you hear is, the handcuffs are too tight. A couple seconds, guy walks over, hears some jingling, he goes, well, I found the problem. The problem isn't handcuffs are too tight, the problem is you're fat. And me and the three guys are like, and I'm like, if Junior was a fucking prison guard, he wouldn't last a week.
I'd have that fucking baton out, beating the shit out of him.
The handcuffs are not too tight, you fat fuck. Like,
fucking A. God damn.
I don't hate fat people. Yes, you do.
I don't hate fat people.
He's obsessed with my 600-pound life. Holy Christ.
Okay, those videos are funny as hell. But you know, you're supposed to take them seriously and never, you know, bring yourself to be like that. But you know what? With me, I just laugh my ass off at them because it's just like, damn, I'm looking at their fat ass trying to step on a scale. They're fucking struggling. I'm like, yeah, struggle with life, you piece of shit. Wow. But let's go to a story about, you know, inconvenient fat people that piss me the fuck off. All right. Now, I'm in Five Guys and I'm online. Conveniently, there's a fat guy that's in front of me. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? He's just going to have, like, he's probably just going to get, like, a triple cheeseburger or something. A lot of toppings. He'll be on his way. When I tell you I was in Five Guys for a half hour longer than I wanted to be, I was in Five Guys for exactly a half hour longer than I wanted to be. This man walked up to the register, and the first thing he said was, "You might want to write this down." I immediately got angry. Like, it was just like, I didn't even say nothing at first. It was just like, you know what? I'm just like, fuck. Now it's going to take me longer to get my food. Like literally, it was like, I already had my order ready. I was just already good to go. I just want to get up there, order my food, and be good, right? So, and the people that worked there were laughing at me, too, because they saw how angry I was getting. Like, my face slowly became angrier by the second. Like, my eyebrows crunched with every word that came out of his mouth. But anyway, this guy was just up there like, you ready for me? You ready? You ready? I was just like, hurry up and fucking order, you fat piece of shit. So he's just sitting there and he's just like, oh, you're all right, here we go now, here we go. Write this down now, write this down. Oh, you know, I just want this double burger, you know, double burger. And then, you know, we gotta put some lettuce, some tomatoes. You writing this down, right? You writing this down? Okay, all right. I'll get some mushrooms. You know what? Just throw another patty on there. The more he's talking, the angrier I'm getting.
God.
And it just gets to the point when one of the workers that's there actually calls me up to the register and takes my order too, and I'm shaking as I'm talking because it was literally over a half an hour that he was fucking sitting there. And then, no. And here's the kicker. This motherfucker ordered a second burger. And he wanted to sit there and fucking give all these fucking instructions for the second burger. I looked over at him and I literally just thought in my mind, what if I just started choking him? Like, it was literally just in my brain. Because it was just like, I wanted to get my food and get the fuck out. But no, he wanted to sit there. And he wanted to sit there and take 45 fucking minutes to sit there and order his fucking food. And everybody behind me was laughing because I was literally shaking, handing the dude in the Five Guys my debit card. Because all I wanted to do, and I was done. And he was still ordering when I was done ordering. So I'm just thinking, and it was just like, as I was leaving, I was like, damn, somebody's fucking hungry. And it was just on my way out the fucking door because I was just getting angry.
Talking about me?
Yeah, yo, it was just like, holy fuck. Yo, I dared him to say something. If he would have said something, oh my fucking God, I would have lunged at his fat ass. But it was just like, yo, it pissed me the fuck off. Another situation that pisses me the fuck off. Okay, here's another one. I got one more for myself, which pisses me off. I'm gonna introduce you guys to someone that I like to call the double everything guy.
Oh God.
Now, I was in McDonald's on Central Ave. Now, I walked in with one of my friends, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna go in, get a couple of McChickens with with extra mayo and some lettuce. That's all I want. Extra lettuce, extra mayo.
Extra mayonnaise.
That's what I want, right? That's what I want, right? Of course, too, they got my fucking sandwiches wrong. They put only mayo and lettuce. Like, forget the fucking patty. Like, just forget the chicken patty itself. They just put mayo and lettuce on there, and it fucking pissed me off already. But before that, this guy was in front of me. Again, once the fuck again, I always run into a situation where a fat fuck is in front of me that's gonna do some dumb shit like that. So here we go, right? So he walks up to the cash register and he says, I want a double cheeseburger with double everything. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right. Now, this can't be real. This can't be real. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm in a dream. I have to be in a dream right now because there's no way that this fat, greedy fuck just ordered a fucking double cheeseburger with double everything. No, it didn't even stop there. He put his hand out in front, he put his hand out in front of the cash in front of the cashier at McDonald's, like he was fucking washing a fucking window, and he was like, "Whatever is on the cheeseburger, double it." I said, "Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out right now!" I was like, literally, I yelled at him. I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" I was like, "You asked for a double cheeseburger with double everything." I've never heard that a day in my fucking life. I was just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And then, I won't even hold you. When he got his food, he sat in the corner farthest away from me in McDonald's, and he was eating, and I could hear him fucking chewing. So I was ready to shove that fucking burger right down his fucking throat. Fucking piece of shit. It was just like, yo, inconvenient fat people piss me the fuck off, and for some reason there's always one in front of me when I go to order food. Like, I'm the person that has to deal with that shit every single time.
Part of like with this podcast, and we've said since episode 1, is that all of us here have no problem busting each other's balls, making fun of each other. And since I've known Al, it's like nobody cracks on Al more than Al, and there's so much comedic shit where he's had me fucking in tears laughing. And I have to, during these episodes, just spread them out because I don't want to spoil them all in one. But I'll never forget, I forgot how we got in this topic, what happened to it, how even Al started to talk about this shit. But we're down in the garage and talking about, we got in the subject where he's just like, well, if I was ever to die, I was like, I want to go out where it's like my neighbors and stuff took me to tell my landlord that there's a funny smell coming from my apartment. And he goes, then my landlord's gonna fucking go there, open up the fucking door. Everyone's gonna start probably vomiting from like this horrible fucking smell. He's like, they're gonna go in there, see me. And I was like, I'm gonna be in the bathtub, buck ass naked. He's like covered in grease. He's like with chicken wings all over my chest, and he goes. He's like in an empty fucking bucket covering my balls.
What the fuck?
That's a way to go out.
That's the ideal way to go out, man.
Yep.
Go out on a feast of greasy fast food.
Got a bag of Gus's over your head and a KFC bucket on your balls.
2 days later, I get a phone call. Like Al was one of his sister family members. Like, Chris, we've seen in his contacts. He talked about you a lot. Like, yeah, Al died. Oh fuck, he died. What happened? He get hit by a car. He get drank. Get to a gang fight. What happened? Like, nah, it's pretty bad. What happened to Al? He's like, well, he was found fucking buck naked in his bathtub. And we start crying. Like, well, the man died the way he lived. When he fucking said that, I laughed for fucking 3 days off that shit. I'm like, only fucking Al would talk about me, and it just like, and then the mental images. I'm friends with Al. Now I can't look at him with a picture of him naked in a fucking bathtub covered in chicken bones.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So me and Susan have heard these all 1,000 times, but this is a podcast now, Junior, and Al probably would love to hear these, but like, just pick one because you got some fireball in you, and you've got plenty of like
Six Flags.
You've got
Six Flags.
You've got plenty of.
You have to do Six Flags.
All right.
Six Flags it is.
He's got to take another shot.
All right, I got a drink. Hold on.
Now, how I just did my Chris's prison stories. The things that Junior says, you would think that he's making this stuff up, and I can attest because I've been there for some of these. This one I wasn't there for. I've talked to his fucking brothers. This is 100% legit because this kind of horror for Junior's life, you can't make this shit up. And see now that he's gonna record this on a podcast, he's gotta go back to a deep dark time in his life of his dad embarrassing him.
You know, by the way, I am permanently scarred by this.
This is what we talked about yesterday. I talked to Jennifer. I said, Jen, when Junior comes over and stuff, I was Jen, Junior knew our father. Susan kind of knew our dad. I never got to meet him. I was like, but Jen, you got to admit, our dad, we were proud of our father. I wanted to be like my dad. My dad was an inspiration. I was like, Jen, our father. I can't even finish it.
My dad is not an inspiration. He's not a role model.
So Junior,
and he's not somebody that you can aspire to.
What happened? Because people want to know in this podcast. What happened, and how old were you when the fucking, what would you even call it? The tragedy of Six Flags?
That is definitely
Nightmare at Six Flags,
starring Sir Heavy,
starring Sir Heavy.
And no bullshit. We play video games. His dad literally puts in his tag is called Sir Heavy. You can't make this shit up.
All right, here we go.
You need some more fireball.
I gotta take another shot. This shit.
This is how you traumatize your child. I'm never doing this to Christian.
All right, so
yes, you are.
Oh, you gotta go, Al. Hold on, we'll pause this thing because I want Al to hear this shit.
I'm trying to get out of here.
At this point, you know.
All right. Everybody here wants me to revisit my dark past. So
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
We're gonna resume the story of Six Flags Great Adventure.
This is why we have to get video because
embrace the dark side.
The look in Junior's eyes says it all.
All right,
this isn't made up.
This is pain in my eyes, by the way. This isn't comfort. This isn't happiness. This is pain. This is torture, and this is sadness for, about how you see your dad in a different light after all this is all said and done.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
So we're online to go on the Nightwing. That was the name of the ride at Six Flags. It was called the Nightwing. It was the ride where you lay down in like this contraption and you literally go around. So we're online, and he's the biggest person online. So you're already thinking in your mind something is going to go wrong. But you don't think that at first. You try to stay positive. It's a family event. It's a father and his 3 sons.
That's right.
Until I disowned him at that moment. That happened at the end of this ride. So we get on the ride, and we're laying down on it because you have to put your feet up. I already heard struggling, which already got me mad because I'm just like, I hear him grunting and struggling to even get his feet up onto the thing in the first place. So we're already off to a bad start.
It's an omen.
So we get on there, we're laying down, because you're supposed to lay down onto it, put your feet on one of the rests, and then grab hold of the thing and literally wait there for them to click you in. So, all three of us are there, including Dad. We're all there. We're waiting. Next thing you know, we hear the first click. You hear it. And, we're all, what I'm saying? It's we're all comfortable. Yep. It's supposed to click a total of 3 times, by the way. So it clicks the first time. We're getting there. We're getting comfortable. The second time it clicks. After the second click, you hear him make the most obnoxious statement I've ever heard anybody who rode a ride actually say. He's like, "Oh, this is it, bring it on." I didn't say anything. I was just like, you know what? I was like, why is he talking? Like, literally in my mind, I didn't actually say it, but in my mind, I'm just like, why is he talking? Now, granted, I'm on the ride next to a cute girl, so this couldn't even have been any worse of a moment for me because I'm trying to, really get some Six Flags cheeks. And he fucked it up for me 1,000%. Okay? So, next thing you know, the third click happens, and all you hear is... you hear it, you know when a ride is about to go, you hear the expel of air, from the gears. Yeah. But this wasn't the expel from gears. This was the expelling of air from a human. But what I thought was that the ride was gonna start. This was my thought. I didn't think that this was a human making that sort of, expelling that much air from them. Because Jesus Christ, how big are your fucking lungs to have that much fucking carbon come out of you? So 10 seconds later after, because I was thinking we were about ready to go, we were going to get off the air a little bit, we were going to get going, but we still didn't go. So something was clearly wrong. It was putting 2 and 2 together in this situation, something was clearly wrong. Literally, I heard 10 seconds later, I can't breathe. Now I'm thinking to myself, here's the thought. When I first heard that, here's the thought. I did not think it was him. Swear to God, he was the biggest person online. I did not think it was him. Somebody could have had an asthma attack. It was just. I was just throwing possibilities out there because I recognize his voice. So when you recognize his voice, you know something's fucked up. As soon as you hear it in the lowest but deepest tone, I can't breathe. So the second time he said it, I can't breathe. It was a little bit louder. Now this time it was a little bit louder. I started panicking. Now, low key, I started panicking because I'm like, holy fuck, what if you really can't breathe? He is kind of big as fuck. So what if he can't breathe? You know what I'm saying? So he hasn't been in a situation where he actually had to lay down on something before that was actually moving. So it was just like, holy fuck. So it was just low key, I was panicking. But then it was like, somebody get the goddamn return. I can't fucking breathe. I can't breathe. Now, you guys gotta understand something.
You have to understand that we've heard this story a million times. Chris and I. So.
We're on a ride at Six Flags. There's a lot of people looking at us right now. So you gotta understand the level of embarrassment we all feel at this especially my youngest brother at this very moment, because he was right next to him as this was going on. So you know that there was a lot of embarrassment coming from him. So the attendant let him off the ride. They let him off the ride. They let one other person on. They let him off the ride. He was walking toward the exit. When I tell you, he had to come from the farthest corner to walk to the exit in the biggest walk of shame I've ever seen in my entire life. But here's where I got angry. Conveniently, I'm laying right next to the exit. So my seat on the ride is right next to the exit where he has to go. So he stops I'm praying, like, please just go to the exit, take your loss, go to the exit, please don't even look at me, just don't say anything to me, like, just take your embarrassment and get the fuck out. Like, at that point, I'm angry because it's just like, I know he's gonna turn around. I know he sees me. So it's just, I'm turning my head, I'm fucking turning my body as best I could, being crunched in the fucking machine. But he saw me. He turns around and he says, I'll see you at the exit, son.
In front of everybody?
In front of everybody. Like, you gotta understand, I'm next to the girl who, she's laughing her ass off. Like, she literally has tears pouring down her face. She has tears on the fucking sidewalk, like, on the fucking walking area where the ride is. Like, she's literally crying in the ride, laughing hysterically. I couldn't even laugh because it was just, I was laughing a little bit at first until he reached the exit and he turned around and looked at me. Then it was just pure anger. Like, did you really have to establish the fact that I'm your son? You could have just said you were my chaperone, something, but you literally had to establish the fact that you're my son, and as my father, you got kicked off the ride because you're too fucking big. And it was just like, it was the most embarrassing moment of my life because while he was yelling, like, he was in distress. Like, he was just like... It was just like, holy fuck.
Marcus told me he was shaking. So.
Yeah, he was shaking a little bit too. I didn't feel that part because I was too busy. I felt the shaking from the girl next to me who was laughing her fucking ass off from what she was hearing.
Yeah.
You know, there's another story that I'm going to tell because I'm going to do 2 stories for you today. This is a special today.
So I'll tell you what Marcus told me and Malcolm, because his brother Marcus and Malcolm, but Marcus next to him, Marcus said, yeah, he was squirming and shaking like, I can't fucking breathe. And Marcus Jr. looks over. Marcus is turning purple because he's like, ah!
laughing at him. Like, literally. When I tell you, he was laughing at him so hard. Like, God. So hard. Like, it's like, you gotta understand. You gotta understand something. When you get laughed at that hard, that's embarrassing. Like, I'm sorry. When you get laughed at that
especially
hard.
From your kids.
Okay?
Because Marcus, what was he, 8 years old or 9 years old at the time?
Yeah, he was young. So he didn't know any better not to laugh at somebody in an unfortunate situation. He's not going to know any better. You know what I'm saying? He's going to laugh if he sees some funny shit. You know, me, I had a little bit more sense to where, you know, I'm laughing, but if he sees me, I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Junior, how old were you at this time?
Fuck.
I think I was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like the first half of a miserable life. Now, here's a second story that this one I'm not proud of neither because, I mean, this was in a group of friends, so it's not as embarrassing, you know? So I'm playing the game and, you know, I'm playing the game. I'm not really thinking anything of it, but as I'm playing the game, my father, yet again, is rocking back and forth on his chair really hard. Like, really, like, I can hear how hard he's rocking in this recliner. Now, my brother at the time, he says, why is he rocking so hard? Now, I knew the answer to that, but when I looked over, I knew exactly what was about to happen. He needed momentum to get up off of his recliner. Because, you know, some people can get off the recliner normally just by going forward, pushing themselves up, and staying in place. But this man doesn't have the ability to control his momentum. But he had to build it high enough so he could get off the chair without, like, pulling a hamstring or something using his legs. So he's going back and forth. So next thing you know, I didn't even see this coming, by the way. When it first happened, I was in such shock at first. So he got up off the chair, but it didn't stop there. Not by any means. When he got up, there was no controlling his momentum. He just went forward. When I said that he just went forward, he went forward. He tripped over everything that was up. Every single cord that was up. The phone came off the table. When I tell you, he actually could use things. He could actually use his clumsiness as a weapon. The Xbox flung off the table. I swear to God. I swear to God, the Xbox flew off the table. Like, it was like a fucking whip. Like, the shit cracked against the fucking TV. I was like, holy fuck.
Oh my God.
I've never seen so much destruction in one person's wake in my life.
It's like a fucking Godzilla.
But he was literally just plowing forward. Like, there was just no stopping him. That was...
Dad.
Yeah, Hurricane Dad. Like fucking earthquake clumsy. Like, what the fuck? But then he just keeps going forward, and then he crashes. This is the moment that an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and the immovable object won this battle. He hit the dresser. When I tell you, it was just like, I swear, have you ever seen those movies like when it was just like a wave of destruction, but then the destruction spreads? This is the moment that I'm telling you. CDs were falling on the floor, breaking. Popcorn, there was like this thing of popcorn, it just spilled everywhere. Like, it was like a fucking massive explosion of fucking snacks and CDs all over the place. And it was like everything just hit the floor. It was just bad. Like, there was a lot of mess on the floor, a lot of destruction everywhere, a lot of broken shit.
Yep.
Here's how everybody reacted to this scenario.
Yeah, boy.
So, my little brother, he's just looking over. He doesn't even want to look at my dad because he's just like, nah, I'm not even looking at him. I don't want him to maintain eye contact with me. Chris, he's biting his lip almost to the point when there's blood coming off his lip. Like, his lip is turning purple.
I remember I was there. I audibly said, home.
Yeah.
I could almost taste fucking blood because I'm looking down because his dad's a big dude. If his dad hits me, I'm probably going to die. So I can't laugh at him because I just watched the fucking, I watched the damn Godzilla movie just happen. Like, I watched an entire fucking living room be destroyed in front of me, and Junior can take over. What made it worse was this asshole right here. Like.
Now, there's one person who braved the elements. He didn't care if the big guy was going to destroy him in a fight because it was just like, listen, the damage is already done, motherfucker. You destroyed everything because you couldn't control your momentum. But what ended up happening was just that I laughed at him, but it wasn't a normal laugh.
No.
This was the type of laugh where you knew you fucked up. So this was the type of laugh.
It was in this moment.
It was just up. Pretty much in this moment, you done fucked up. So it was just like oh, you heard it really low at first, but it picked up in pitch really fast.
Yep.
It was just like like my finger was going up at a really fast speed. Next thing you know, it got louder. Like, I kept laughing at him, right? All you heard, like, it felt like he was turning into a fucking rampaging bull. He turned around and he was like, "Jerk, you want me to give you something to cry about?" Like, I kept laughing at him, right? I was so brave because everybody else was quiet, was silent, but me, hell no, you're getting this laughing, motherfucker. So
with the ceiling too, it was echoing.
Yeah,
that's what made it fucking worse.
It echoed throughout the entire house. So
that's all you hear. The entire house is a fucking hyena laughing.
Okay. So at this point, he was retreating back to his room because he was like, he's way too embarrassed. He's way too embarrassed. He doesn't want to be around anybody anymore. So he started walking back to his room, but because he can't control his momentum, when he's walking back to his room, he's crashing into the walls as he's walking because his body sways as he's walking. It's like a fucking hammock. Now he's like going against the wall, like bumping into, like boom,
it's like
boom,
ball.
boom. It's like it was like a fucking wrecking ball going throughout the apartment. It was fucking crazy. But then you heard him kick the shit out of his bedroom door. He didn't push it open. No, he's so strong, he kicked the shit out of it. And it sounded like it flew off the hinges and he slammed it shut.
The entire time I'm looking down as his dad's rampage back to his bedroom. It kept getting louder, like, I'm like, please, Junior, for Christ's sake, stop, please. He's gonna murder us.
The uncontrollable Joker laugh.
I couldn't control it. Yo, if you've seen something like that, you can't control your laugh. You just in my situation, and I've already had it out with him so many times at that point. He just pissed me off. So something bad happened to him, I immediately laugh.
For me, it's just like I tasted blood that day because I look over, all you see is this unit. His eyes got fucking triple the size, and he's just like, it's like, please fucking stop. Like,
those are the top two embarrassing moments.
Oh fuck.
Well, not really the top two. There's plenty more embarrassing moments, but those are the two stories I'm gonna hook you guys up with for today. But it's just like, this is the thing. It's inconvenient fat people that pisses me the fuck off. And it was just like, he's just the most inconvenient person in my life by far. And I mean, thank you guys for listening to this story and understanding where my pain comes from. This is a painful moment in my life that I've tried to put behind me, but these guys wanted me to relive those memories.
I'm gonna listen to this shit at work and be crying and laughing. So because I got my notebook here, things I've been jotting down here and there, and now Junior's done. So part of what Elliot was talking about last night was different celebrities and the stupid shit they do and the bias stuff, and because I listen to other podcasts and different people. Now, I don't know, anything we talk about this podcast, I would hope one day, which probably won't happen, but like, because I was such a massive fan of Dave Chappelle and Chappelle's show and the skits he would do. So I've thought about this, that if we talk about this right now, somebody better not copyright this shit or steal it. And if you do steal it, give me the fucking credit for it. But a few months back, the actress, yeah, I've had too much Fleshmans, but Gwyneth Paltrow made her website called Goop. It's called goop.com. She sells all kinds of shit, like how to take a jade egg and stick it up your vagina and it helps you heal, which is total bullshit. But she made the joke, and
what the fuck?
If you look up the stuff that Gwyneth Paltrow has on Goop, it's fucking hilarious, because she talks about if you take a jade egg for $100 and shove it up inside you, it will promote healing and fertility, and it's total bullshit. So it comes down to what Elliot was saying about being biased in celebrities and following their false bullshit. So Gwyneth did a couple months ago, and I'm not making this up, you can go Google it, because this kind of psychotic shit you can't make it up. She made a candle, it's sold out even right now, this is May, and it's called It Smells Like My Vagina. Now, she made the joke, and she talked about this on Jimmy Kimmel, where it's like, this candle cost, no bullshit, $75 for a candle that smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina.
What?
And I'm not fucking joking. At that point, it does make you wonder of if any single person bought that. Maybe as a gag, I kind of get that, but like,
who would spend $75 on a gag?
On a pussy candle.
First of all, no man is buying that for this reason. The smell of vagina makes you want vagina. You're not going to buy a candle that smells like vagina and just keep it around all day. Why? That's like torture.
Well, the joke I made is that, if we ever if we ever got popular enough, we can make comedy shows, YouTube specials, I'd promote something different and shit. I would say, like, imagine a stage setup and stuff too, and we play some music, and out walks Big Al, and Big Al's like, "Hey guys, I'm Big Al." Al has a fucking thumbs up and a grin on his face. What I'm promoting is, instead of wasting your money, ladies, and spending something stupid on $75 for a candle for your man, I prefer for $9.99 you can buy a candle by me, and my scent would be Big Al's balls.
Yes.
And for $9.99,
yes.
And for $9.99. I would sit up there with a fucking robe. He's now, ladies, you may be asking yourself the question of, like, how do we get the scent of how do we get the scent of Big Al's balls? Well, I have a team of scientists behind me, and after a long, hard day at work, they got down and they started sniffing my nuts.
Listen, I also want to have like a stool where I could throw my leg up and have my balls.
You'd be up there on stage like, oh, look at these nuts.
For $9.99, you too can partake of these nuts.
Oh my god.
And I'll be like, ladies, let's be honest,
If Jen is listening right now, I really do miss you, because I am the only female here, and wow!
I can imagine just Al sitting here with the tagline, like, come on, ladies, let's be honest, too. Who wants to spend $75 on a candle? And be honest, too, you don't want the competition, the smell of another woman's vagina. What you want is the smell of a real man. A real man like me, who's worked a long day, who's...
These nice, hot, hairy, sweaty balls.
You may be asking yourself the question. You may be asking yourself the question of like, what does it smell like? Well, I can tell you from experience. After me working a 10-hour day, there's definitely a hint of some sweat, a little splash of onion and shit too, and whatever. It's like, but like,
some musk with a hint of salt.
But it's like, who in the flying fuck? That right there, you can't tell me will be a Chappelle style fucking sketch where just Al walks out in the middle of a crowded fucking room. Al's got a fucking in a billboard, a candle with him with the thumbs up like by Big Al's balls.
The Hugh Hefner robe with a pair of knee-high black socks and sandals on.
If you are, it's like,
holy fuck!
Who in the flying fuck is buying a $75 candle that smells like a woman's fucking? But Jesus Christ! Like, the shit fucking celebrities do. When I first heard that, I'm like, it's
the only way I'd buy that is if it was Beyonce's vagina.
Yeah, but it's just like, I like Gwyneth Paltrow, and she's a good-looking woman, and I'd fuck her, no doubt. But just like, holy shit! Oh man, there's so much stuff. I thought about this earlier too. It's like, hey, fuck it, we got time. Some of Chris's fucking prison stories. I don't talk about prison stories in the sense that I'm bragging about this stuff, but
yeah, you are.
Well, yeah. As funny as it is, I never compare myself honestly to any kind of person who did the military. But in the sense that I understand what it's like to go through an experience where you went in as one person, you came out as a different person. But I tell this to people that, like, through a series of unfortunate events, you may know somebody. Could be a friend, could be a family member. And believe me when I say this too, and I felt this way before going to prison, that there's a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, that are in prison, even right now as I'm saying this, that truly don't fucking belong in there. So don't automatically assume that everyone in prison is a total piece of shit. And I would have too. The point of prison is that, we send our worst of the worst there. We send our hardened criminals. We send scumbags. A lot of guys in fucking jail aren't pieces of shit. But as I tell people that, fuck, if you have a friend of yours and stuff too, and they're going to go through some shit that they shouldn't go through, there's certain rules and guidelines that you have to go through in jail. And I was told by guys that in county jail, guys who've done prison terms before, and they knew I was going to prison. And there's a thing called the 3 Gs, and I'm sure it's as valiant in 2020 as it was back when I was there in 2011, is that the thing to avoid in prison is called the 3 Gs. And what is the 3 Gs? It is 3 things: gambling, gays, and gangs. And the reason for that is because, okay, obviously gangs. If you are part of a gang, it probably will get you shivved or fucking killed and add time to your sentence. Someone like me, obviously being a white guy, trust me, there is plenty of friggin' skinheads and shit too in jail. Sometimes, depending on the facility, Alan Jr. would know this, and anybody with common sense, black gangs, like say the Bloods and their fucking Crips, don't accept white members on the streets. In jail, their numbers sometimes are kind of dwindling, so they will recruit white guys into their gangs because they're fucking desperate. These dumbass white guys don't understand the fact that when you get out, just because you were a blood inside prison, you're not a fucking blood out on the streets. Nope. That's not how this shit works. So, for most part, I stay away from gangs because I don't want to get involved with that drama and that fucking bullshit. Obviously, gambling. Gambling, people, like on the outside, get really fucking violent and cruel about gambling. Whether it's a pack of cigarettes, whether it's a deck of cards, it could be a fucking, who knows, a bar of soap. You get the wrong person, do not start gambling money that you don't fucking have, and it can get you fucking killed and sign you in a PC. And gays, this is also something on previous podcasts I want to get into about us with sexuality and gay people and shit, that you may think to yourself that gay people, in terms of the outside world and what goes on in fucking prison, you think that equality, racism, everything you think about that comes on in the outside, inside fucking prison has its own world, its own fucking rules, its own guidelines and shit. There are plenty of guys that are fucking gay in jail. However, being gay is very, very fucking frowned upon inside the prison community. Plenty of fucking guys are gay. Plenty of guys even have wives and kids, and they get their dick sucked on the side because, it's been 2 or 3, 4 years and shit, and guys gotta, the whole thing is, a hole is a hole, so they don't care. But I'm the kind of person where it's like, all of us here, we make fucking jokes. We make fucking racial jokes. We make gay jokes. However, I'm still a big proponent of, if I ever was in prison and I seen 5 or 6 guys jumping a gay guy and beating the fuck out of him, I would step in, because I'm still not a fan of, I don't believe a person should get the shit kicked out of them or shivved or whatever because of their skin tone or their sexuality. We had this one kid and stuff. My friend Matt, I send my friend Matt invites to this podcast, and we're still good friends to this day. Matt is a very good individual and stuff, and we did prison time together. But this one kid was named Picasso. I think I was 25 and he was like 19 or 20. Short version, he had some bullshit statutory rape charge, and like I still agree with that. You know, you could have a 20-year-old male have sex with a 17-year-old girl, and it's a long process of how fucked up our prison system is. This fucking dude had a similar situation, but again, he was like 20, the boy was like 17 or something. But anyway, to Picasso, everybody called him Picasso because this fucking kid, like, people out in the fucking streets, you show him any picture, this kid could take a fucking pencil and draw anything better than a 3D printer. The fucking guy had the name Picasso for a reason. He would sell his fucking drawings for anything, you know, food, stamps, whatever the case may be. Picasso was fucking gay. A lot of people didn't know he was gay, some people did. And thought the guy was cool as hell, little like Indian kid, and had a bald head and stuff, and one nice guys on the fucking planet. Every once in a while, we'd hang out, we'd walk to chow together, we'd fucking talk and, you know, have conversations in the break room. You get that sometimes. Hey, Chris, like, you talking to that dude over there? Yeah, like, I know you talk to faggots. Like, yeah, I kind of fucking do. And for the most part, I was lucky that people didn't start shit with me, didn't start fights with me, but it still was fucking frowned upon. Some fights would break out. If you were talking to a gay guy in jail, they would fucking beat the shit out of you or start a fight. I just told guys that, much like high school, anybody who knew me in high school went into prison. My view is, look, I don't give a fuck what you are. Black, white, Hispanic, Latin King, Blood Crip, gay, straight, whatever. I fuck with everybody. I'd never picked a clique. Now, when you're in county jail, all the black guys in county jail would say, Chris, county jail is one thing, we're cool with you. When you first get to prison, this is the way it is. Doesn't matter how cool you are with us, how cool you are with fucking people. When you get to fucking prison, you go with your own kind. It's simple as that, man. If you're white, go with the whites. You're black, go with the fucking blacks. This isn't the fucking outside world. It doesn't matter what rules you have. You could have, again, black friends, black kids, whatever. When you first hit fucking prison, you go where you fucking belong. You don't belong with black people. You know, and that's just the fucking way it is. You know, gay guys fucking too. You could, and if you are fucking gay, you better hide that shit. That's just the fucking way stuff goes. So when some people get offended or taken out of context what we fucking say, no. If I see a freaking gay guy getting the shit kicked out of him, I'm gonna fucking step in. And guess what? Instead of now 1-on-5, it's gonna be 2-on-5. I may get fucking shivved, I may get freaking jumped, but guess what? We're going down together. I may lose fucking my good time, but I'm still a proponent of you have no right to attack somebody or beat the fuck out of them, whether it's fuck their skin tone, their sexual orientation, whatever the case may be. So if you can't handle the fucking jokes, I had gay friends. Me and him would fucking, you know, again, showers, both were fucking boxers, couple of stalls down, we'd have conversations. I never banged a guy, obviously, and shit too, but also the kind of person I am too, I'd make fucking jokes. Like, hey, Chris, are you talking to that one faggot and stuff? I'm like, oh, he's gay, really? Oh, shit, like, that explains the blowjob he gave me last night. Like, fuck. I had no idea. Like, oh, shit, I know he's gay. Like, but, yeah, you know, there's so many fucking prison stories I got, but like, you know, gay people in fucking jail and the outside world, they've gone through a lot of scrutiny. They've gone through a lot of horrible shit. And we make jokes about them, but I will fucking defend you to the death. Whether it's like, if I fucking would jump a fucking black kid, I'm gonna jump with that black kid. I don't believe this shit. Just because we're the same skin tone, we're not together, bro. You have no fucking right hurting that kid because he's different skin tone. You have no right hurting that kid because he's fucking gay. Get over it. So that's my kind of like serious fucking prison. No, and cool fucking dude. I really liked Picasso a lot and shit. He changed up dorms. He got out. Good for him and stuff. Hope he had a good life. But yeah.
Well, people kind of hate what's different, regardless of whether inside prison or outside prison. I mean, you've seen the divide that's out here as opposed to the divide in prison, like you were describing, really isn't that different. It's like, you know, I mean, with the exception that it's probably not to the extreme like it is in there, you know. But there's still a divide, you know, and it could be for anything. It could be if you're in support of the president or not. There's a divide. There's a divide if, you know, you're black or white. There's a divide. There's a divide if, you know what I'm saying, you're if you support the LGBT community and if you don't. There's divides all over the place. And with that divide, there's no acceptance. And that's part of the problem with society is that, you know, you don't have to like the fact that that person supports that, or you don't have to like the fact that that person is a part of that community. But you still got to accept it. Part of this, if we're such a free country, right? If we're such a free country, then why do we face such scrutiny just for a difference of opinion? You know what I'm saying? Because you do have a right to do it, but people also have a right to respond to you accordingly. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always say, you always have the freedom. You have the freedom of whatever action you want to take. You have a freedom of speech to say whatever you want, but there's also a freedom of consequence.
Facts.
And it's the freedom of reactions, because for every action there's a reaction. So you have the freedom of do whatever you want, but you also have to deal with the reaction that comes from it. And that's just, you know what I'm saying, that's just the reality of what it is. You know, divide is just the divide is something that's always been there. And what we have here, you know what I'm saying, all the friends that I have, all the people that I'm around doing a podcast with, it's diverse. You know what I'm saying? It's diversity right there. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're all friends with each other. We all, you know what I'm saying, we're all gonna have jokes. Like I'm definitely gonna have jokes on white people. You know what I'm saying? And jokes on black people and jokes on any sort of ethnic group. Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? There's jokes to be had because it's jokes at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't take any of that stuff seriously because I'm mixed. And it's just like, well, I'm just going to be like, oh, you start talking about black people. Oh, I'm offended because, you know, you shouldn't be talking about it. I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, my thing is that if you're so offended by jokes to that extent, because people's like, well, you know, it's a difference between if it's a joke or if you're really being serious about what you're saying. I'm like, but how can you understand the context if you're offended every single time somebody says something?
Yeah.
So you don't even understand the context to understand whether or not it's okay for you to be offended by it. If somebody is saying something in a hateful way, you can understand the context from it, because between the delivery of his speech, between the things that he's trying to say and what he's conveying, you can understand that context. But if you can't even understand the context of somebody using it as a joke, as opposed to somebody who's being hateful, then you don't, in a sense, you know what I'm saying, that you can't, you know, it's not right for you to automatically say because somebody said something. Like if Chris was to talk about, you know, make a joke about black people, for example, you know what I'm saying? Like Chris was to sit there and say, oh, you know, I know you black dudes don't like to pay child support. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying it as a joke, not as like a statistical fact. You know what I'm saying? He's not.
Trust me, there's plenty of white deadbeat dads.
Yeah.
So.
Me and Chris spoke about this earlier. The problem is everybody is quick to be offended. And most of the times they don't even know what they're offended about. They just want to be offended.
Yep.
We talked about the fact that there are times where somebody's going to hear you say something, and then they're going to hear a word, like, and then they'll be triggered by the word, and everything else is out the window. Like the entire sentence, the context that it was in, everything is gone because this word happened, and now we're offended. And that to me it's ridiculous. Like you can't, like I've said for so many years, a word on its face can't be offensive. Just a word can't be offensive. Context makes it offensive. Exactly. If I use a word, I could be there's 10 words off the top of my head right now that I could say and use in a way to be offensive. But just saying a word by itself, there's no reason this word should be offensive.
Yep.
But most people take it that way. Most people are triggered by words. And it's just in 2020, at this stage in our development, at this point in life, at this stage of this pace of time in America, we should be past that. We should be past the stage of I'm offended by a word. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. That's what kills me, Zeeth. You would have thought that, you know, we would have evolved past this shit. I think we're devolving. I think instead of progressing, I think instead of progressing, we're actually starting to regress again. Because I've said it before, you know. Before, what made the 80s and 90s stuff too, legends like Eddie Murphy, like Richard fucking Pryor, like George Carlin, like Rodney Dangerfield, all these top comics, they were known because they were edgy, they were breaking the mold, they were saying and doing things you weren't fucking allowed to do. And a good time period happened where the 80s and 90s were like you could say and do whatever the fuck you wanted to do because that's the point of comedy. Yeah. And now recently and shit too, we're now instead of progressing, now we're going backwards. Now we're going backwards. So again, the things that you weren't allowed to say in the 80s and 90s, the things that fucking broke the mold, now it's happening all over again. The exact same fucking jokes that were in the 80s and 90s, they were hilarious. You can go watch Blazing Saddles, you can watch Eddie Murphy's Eddie Murphy Raw. You can watch even Dave Chappelle's show has been off the air for about 12, 13 years now. Certain skits that Chappelle did, you can't even fucking do nowadays. And I'm like, that was on cable television.
Do you think Eddie could get away with Raw right now?
And that's been the biggest question. Ever since he came back and did friggin' Black Dynamite on Netflix. Now everyone's been talking about the big. Not Black Dynamite. No, I'm sorry. Not Black Dynamite.
Got the ice cream. You can't have none. You is on the welfare.
What the hell was Netflix movie he just did? Remember?
Psych.
Well, his new Netflix movie. I'm too drunk thinking about it. But Dolomite. He just did Dolomite, and everyone's like, now Eddie's making it. Now he's actually before the COVID, he started filming Coming to America too. Yeah. But now everyone's been said to Eddie Murphy's making this massive comeback. Now people have said again. Now, is Eddie Murphy going to come back and be the 1985 Eddie Murphy, or can he do this shit? And the thing is, he can do this shit, and hopefully Eddie Murphy is not giving a fuck what people got to say about him, because, as I said, the comics that don't give a fuck, they're very far and few between them. That's why we look up to, like, Ricky Gervais, look up to Dave Chappelle, even Joe Rogan. Shit, this is why Joe Rogan has a #1 podcast in the fucking country, South Park, for example. All these people, Bill Burr, it's all these people, Whitney Cummings, it's like, you can just keep going. The comics that don't give a fuck anymore, they're the ones that are standing out. But overall, there's very few comics left that are, like, they're so scared of being PC and shit. And, no, like Al said too, it's like, can Eddie Murphy, when he does his comeback, will he be as raunchy and disgusting and, like, can he say the things he said before? He can say them, but will he have the balls to? And I'm hoping that
with all the PC police going around right now, they give him such a hard time.
Yeah,
the stand-up that made him legendary will be frowned upon today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard so many people in different podcasts, different YouTube episodes. How many people have said a man like George Carlin, like, we need George Carlin in 2020? And I'm like, thing is, George Carlin is gone, but there's other people that can stand up and not take his place in a sense, but they can take up that mantle of, like, stop giving a fuck about this, because that's the point of comedy. If, like, here's a problem, guys, with the whole Twitter thing and social media. 100,000 people give you a like what you had to say. 1,000 people are offended. Fuck the 1,000. You have 100,000 likes. What does it matter if 1,000 people dislike your shit? 100,000 people liked your stuff. This was the thing with Married with Children. When Married with Children came out back in the 90s, Al Bundy was offensive. He was crude. He was a loser.
And he was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
That's another show that couldn't exist today.
That woman walks into the shoe store today.
People have said that. But the thing is, remember, and then the funny part is this one woman back in the 90s, she was offended by Married with Children. Everybody involved, whether it was Ed O'Neill, the producers, everyone's like, lady, listen, if you're offended, stop watching the fucking show.
Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that, too. But the funny part is because she was offended, because it made the fucking news and media, the ratings went through the fucking roof. Ever since that woman was offended by the episode with Al and Steve talk about the mannequin and the fucking bra, she was so fucking offended, the ratings tripled and shit, too. Back then it was like, hey, listen, if you don't like the fucking show, lady, stop watching it. Fast forward nowadays, I don't like a show. Now I'm going to do everything in my fucking power. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to lose fucking sleep. I'm going to get petitions, rallies, everything I can to stop this show from existing. Mm-hmm. Instead of like, listen, bitch, if you don't like this show, turn it the fuck off.
Don't watch it.
That's the fucking big, this whole cancel culture. But it's not so much, these companies, who gives a shit, people, again, too. If you have, like, say, any kind of show, if an Eddie Murphy special comes out, if a Dave Chappelle offended people, okay, Netflix paid him $20 million fucking dollars. He had the #1 special on Netflix. So if 30 million people like Dave Chappelle's special, and say even 1 million people were quote-unquote offended, the 1 million shouldn't balance out the 30 fucking million. The numbers make zero sense. And Junior said this, Al said this too. It's this fucking vocal minority. But the thing is, fuck from a number standpoint, it literally makes no fucking sense. Because 20 people, 30 people on Twitter hate you. Okay, like Al said, every podcast we upload, we're gonna piss people off. I know we're gonna piss people off. Al's already said shit. Junior said shit. I've goddamn well said plenty of shit to piss people off. The thing is, if we have 1,000 fans and 100 people hate us, fuck you 100. We got 1,000 fucking fans. I don't give a flying fuck what you 100 think about us. This whole cancel culture, from a number standpoint, it makes no fucking sense.
It's not even just cancel culture; it's just this culture overall.
Something Dave Chappelle said that I think is true of most things in life is how, like, because the vocal minority will make the most noise, they'll have you believing that it's the majority that think that way, and it's just not the truth. Like 80% of the people are always in the middle, and you'll have like 10% on one side and 10% on the other side, and those two 10% factors will make so much noise that if you're standing on the outside looking in, you'd feel like this country's really divided down the middle, and a lot of times that's just not the case. Like in America right now, the way politics are, like the majority of people don't give a fuck about what's going on with Democrats and Republicans. They just want to make ends meet, feed their families, and go in day to day. But if you pay attention to the news, whether you watch Fox News or MSNBC, whether you're on the left or the right, they'll always have you feeling like this is the way the country feels. Like, oh, we're deeply divided down. That's not, like, most people are in the middle. Most people don't care. Most people don't pay attention to like 90% of the shit.
Yeah, that's true. So I apologize for this ahead of time, guys, in the sense that now we have our Facebook page and stuff too. There was an article I seen during this week. I can't find it anywhere, but I did read this on because I've got a lot of Facebook pages I follow. Going forward, anything I find on Facebook, and the second I find this, I'm going to share this on Facebook, let you guys know. But I might as well ask you guys now. I'm sure somebody if you're listening to this stuff too, you could find this, but this was an article I read a couple of days ago, and I've checked everywhere, but it does exist, and this is an opinion piece. I'll ask the three people sitting here with me, and I read comments, and like anything, I look at both sides of the equation, look at the pros and the cons. So, there was this woman, she was driving, her son was driving, she's teaching him how to drive. He's 16 years old. She's a white woman, she has a son who's biracial, mulatto, whatever, he's black. He made a mistake on the road, and a truck driver pulls over next to him. The kid made a mistake. She waved to the driver, hey, we're sorry, we made a mistake. Kid's like, I'm sorry, I mean that. I forgot. It was either a wrong signal light, but a kid made a simple mistake that any 16-year-old kid would do who's learning how to drive. Driver pulls over, rolls down his window, he yells out. He's like, hey, you messed up, you fucking nigger. Now, of course, obviously, and she goes, my son, eyes got fucking huge, and the mother's just like, wow, you just called my kid a nigger, you know? So she writes down, of course, the fucking license plate, the company, calls the company, said, listen, tells them what happened. And shit, too, we'll look into this and stuff. Now, some people would say that should have been it. She should have left it alone, went from there. She looked into it further, was checking the company's Facebook page, noticed that the driver wasn't fired. Okay, maybe HR didn't get to it yet. Shit, too. Called them back, we'll look into it. Months go by, and according to her, she goes, I just happened to, be checking Facebook one day. I wanted to see this company and stuff, too. 3 months went by. Checked the Facebook. This man still wasn't fired. So, this becomes a topic that I can ask the three of you, and especially Alan shit, too. But, I understand the fact that if the company should have fired his stupid ass for being a fucking prick, but I understand, too, and it's a double-edged sword. Some people would say, well, you shouldn't fire a guy for being an asshole and he's got a family. Then some people would say, well, you should have thought about that before you called their fucking son a nigger. And also, too, my sister is 18 now. She's still waiting for her to get her permit and learn how to drive. If I'm out there teaching my sister how to drive and some guy from a truck company pulls over and calls my sister a nigger, I'm going to say, Kaya, get out real quick, too, and get into the passenger seat while I beat this motherfucker to death and shit. So,
see, well,
what is your view?
The thing is, this guy, if he's racist, he's now a liability to this company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if he ever gets into an accident, he kills somebody, and people could do any kind of research and find out that he's had problems with people of color in the past, then it's going to become, well, did you do this on purpose? Did you purposely hit my car and kill my husband, wife, daughter, son, child, whatever, because you hate us, of people of color? And if that topic even comes up, then the company becomes liable because you knew you had a guy that was dangerous on your hands and you still employed him.
Good point.
And if it's me and he kills somebody in my family in an accident or something, I'm going after the company full force. Because you know you had this guy working for you, and this guy clearly hated minorities, and who knows what triggered him. He probably saw my son, daughter, wife, whatever, driving and got angry for some minor infraction that they did and decided today's the day he's going to take their life. And to me, that's an extreme example. But anytime as a company you employ somebody who exhibits a deep racism where they're going to stop and yell out racial slurs, or imagine you're a white man, you're married to a black woman, you have biracial children, you go to a hospital and find out your pediatrician is racist as fuck. And how do you trust that person to take care of your children? How do you know that your child is getting the right care? If this person is in any field where you have to rely on their service, how do you trust them if you know they don't like you simply because of the color of your skin?
Yeah.
How do you know, like, you call the fire department, they show up and they watch your house burn to the ground and they tell you, well, there's nothing we could do at this point, when you call them when the fire was in the kitchen, and they showed up when the fire had slowly made its way down the hallway. Then they get here and they tell you, we can't do anything, so you watch your house burn to the ground. How do you know that these guys just don't dislike you simply because of the color of your skin, and they don't want to do shit to help you? You know, it's like, that's always the situation that you come across as a person of color, where somebody is racist. You have to wonder, like, this field that they're in, how do I know I'm going to get the right amount of treatment or care or whatever I need from them if they hate me based on the color of my skin?
Yeah.
You know, that's a realistic fear for some people.
Yeah, I tried looking this up on Google and stuff too. I can't find the article, but like, so looking forward and stuff too, do you feel that, you know, I still feel obviously she was in the right for calling the company. Now, do you feel, what should the company do to this guy?
Because
he was obviously he was on company time because he was driving their company truck. Yeah. So
you know my stance on this personally. If I'm driving on the road and you're in any kind of a company vehicle and you call me any kind of racial slur, I'm doing everything I can in my power to get you out of that job.
Okay.
Because you don't deserve to be controlling a vehicle that could potentially kill people if this is how you feel about people of color. Because obviously, at some point, you could be triggered and angry and kill somebody, and you could come up with any number of reasons why you shouldn't be punished. But let's be honest. Kid made a mistake. You went out of your way to pull over and let him know that you think he's a nigger.
Yeah.
Like, and not just that, but if both her and her son, like, looked and said, hey, sorry, he's still learning, and you still had, like, that much hatred and ugliness in you to call the kid that.
Yeah, like, that's insane to me. Like, I feel like she didn't do enough in just calling the company and, you know, letting them know where he's at. I would have brought all manners of attention to it. I would have went to the local news. I would have notified all social medias that I'm connected to. I would have went on every podcast that I knew, people I knew. I would have I would have made sure that his name and the name of the company is out there so that people could know that be careful, because this company employs this guy and this is the way he feels about people. So if this guy runs you off the road or you get into an accident, it's possible that he did it on purpose and the company is going to try to protect him. Like, I would have went all the way there. Because the reality of it is, if that's the way you feel, like, the country isn't just white people. The country's a mixture of people. And if you hate people of color, obviously then this is no longer the country for you. You know, America's no longer an all-white country or an all-anything country. It's a diverse melting pot, plain and simple. If you don't like it, get out. Get out while the getting's good. Go back to Europe.
How you feel?
I agree with what you were saying now.
Again, I just tried Googling this too. It's like, it was on Facebook. I'd say the second, now that we have our official Facebook page, I've been trying to Google it. I can't find the article, but it fucking bothered me, because it's like, I want to do segments where it's like, and all you guys, whether Jen listening, Al, Sue Jr., if you find an article with some guy being fucking scumbag of the week, this guy was a piece of shit. And like I said, so if I was teaching my fucking mulatto sister to drive and this dude pulled this bullshit, I said, me calling the company is going to be the least of your fucking problems, pal. But again, too, but this is obviously a mother and shit, too. The mother's not going to go attack this driver. I would, and I'm sure Al Jr. should, too. If Al was driving his son, yeah.
Well, I agree with what you were saying, Al, about the fact that she wasn't doing enough.
Yeah.
I 100% agree that in that situation, you definitely do everything in your power to get rid of somebody like that. I mean, that's any situation, though. It's just like, you know, whatever job that you're in, doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you're working. Oh. Even if it's if you're in a retail store and you got a customer that's being racist, like, at that point, you just completely stop helping them. You let everybody know around the store. Like, there was this one particular person that I had to stop helping because I specifically said this before about the race card, where it was just like a lot of people pull it to try to victimize themselves, to try to build a foundation, to try to attack people by victimizing themselves, and it just doesn't work with me at all. So, especially me being black, well, I mean, I'm not fully black, you know, I'm certain percentage of it, but I'm not going to tolerate it at all. Like, if you come up to, like, me personally, I don't, you know what I'm saying, customer service isn't really my thing per se, but I do help customers. You know what I'm saying? It's not my actual job. You know, I'm not sales, you know, but I will still go out of my way to help a customer. But when you come up to me and you say, oh, you're not going to help me because I'm black and I look broke. And I'm just like, it was just like in my brain, I'm just like literally how I responded and what was in my brain was 100% in sync. I'm like, so you're talking to somebody who's mixed about you being black and looking broke when you're in here in better shit than what I'm wearing. So what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like I had to compose myself because like I'm really not the type of person to deal with bullshit. So it's just like I really had to compose myself, and I literally had to sit there and I really had to look at him and I had to say, so you really just gonna say that shit to me, right? To me, of all people, I need to edge up. I need to get new sneakers. These shits are falling apart. You know what I'm saying? But here you are with the brand new ACGs, fresh ass outfit, fresh everything, and you come up to me and say, "Oh, is it because I'm black and I look broke?" I literally had to say, "The tablets are right there," and I walked away. I couldn't even say or do anything else. Because it was just like at that point, I was just like, I didn't even know. I didn't know what to say that was going to. I didn't know what I could say that could have saved my job because what I wanted to say was going to get me fired. So it was just like, I just pointed him in the direction where it was just like, I can't even do that. As I said before, I said this before and I'll say it again. It's just like this whole racial divide thing. It's just like I said, you're always going to run into a problem like that. You're always going to run into a situation like that. It's there. Racism is there. Will Smith, and once again, I'm going to quote Will Smith for the 4th time. Racism is not getting worse. It's getting filmed. That means it's getting put out there. It's not getting worse. It's like it's going to always be there because it's always going to be taught. Yeah. It's always going to be in a household. Whether it's black people saying, oh, white people always do this, or I don't like white people. If you sit there and say you don't like white people, guess what? You're racist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because Al said this once in the garage. We're talking about. Remember you were talking about different comedians and stuff, and I forgot the exact quote, but I was just like, if you are this closed-minded, this racist, if you, whether it's white comedians, black comedians, any women comedians, if you shut yourself out to comedians based on that shit, like do you know how stupid you sound? The how much stuff you're missing out on?
Yeah, you miss out on a lot. I imagine, and I actually got this from the late, great Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace. He was the one that pointed this out. He was like, as a black person or a white person where you want to be, and this applies to all walks of life, when you say, I'm shutting out this race of people out of my life, you're missing out on all the contributions of the other side. Like, as a comedian, somebody who likes comedy, as a black person, do you think I never want to have access to, Bill Burr or George Carlin or, just any number of white comedians that are truly good? Or as a white person, would you want to miss out on, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, all the good black comedians,
Kevin Hart,
all the, why would you cut that out of your life based on something as stupid as this person has a different skin color? It's a waste. Could you imagine being a football fan and you're a black racist or a white racist and you don't like these people on the team or whatever? That's you're cutting out all the good white players on the team because you want to be racist over something stupid, or you're a white person that's racist against black people. You're cutting out all the good black people on the team because you want to be it's dumb. It's dumb. Yeah. All the shit that you miss out on because you want to hold on to some made up concept in your mind of keeping the race pure or some superior race or whatever. The other day, and it's funny because if you ever go online and you look at all these people that claim they're superior for any reason, you see just how stupid they are. The other day, somebody sent me a picture of this guy at a KKK rally in full KKK attire, holding up a sign that says whites are better and have superior genes. But he spelled genes.
Oh, that's right.
Jean. I was
I've seen that.
Is he talking about the Duluth genes? What genes? What superior genes are he talking about? Because clearly he meant GEN. Yes, but he, and it's shit like that. You see people you tell me that you have superior genes, but you can't even spell the word. You don't even come on. What are you doing right now? This is the point I'm making. These guys that claim they're intellectually superior, but then do ultimately moronic nonsense. It makes you it just makes you wonder, like, instead of wasting your time passing on your knowledge of hate and your knowledge of separation and this idiotic ideal of keeping the race pure, how about dedicating yourself to getting a good education and teaching your kids to keep an open mind? How about doing that? How about telling your kids, like, yo, you know what? There's a lot of shit that's coming down the pipeline in the future for this planet in terms of the possibility of a meteor strike or another fucking, strain of disease or any number of natural occurrences that can happen. And our best possible solution to survive as a species is genetic diversity. So instead of saying keep the race pure, knock the nonsense off. Tell them kids to intermingle as much as they can and create a stronger breed of human. Like, there's a lot of shit coming down the pipeline for us.
Well, I think that would be fucked up, during a zombie apocalypse, or like you said, Al, a meteor apocalypse. Say, for instance, we wiped out like 2/3 of the world's population. You're still gonna have that random ass where it's like, I'm not gonna fuck a black chick, or I'm not gonna fuck a white guy because I'm so and so. And I'm like, yeah. Then when I hear that too, I'm putting a bullet in your head.
Listen, I'm telling you right now.
That's why they handcuffed Merle on top of the building.
Yeah.
And I say it like this: if you want to sit there and say you don't want to date other girls because of their skin color, I'll be like, hey, more for me.
That's funny because I was watching this guy on TikTok watching this video of this guy who went on a rant, and he was talking about how people are racist against other people. Like, how could you say you don't like a specific race of women because of the race they are? He said it's the stupidest thing in the world. He's like, that's so stupid. Do you understand how beautiful women are? He's like, there are beautiful white women, beautiful black women, beautiful Hispanic, beautiful Asian women, beautiful Middle Easterners, beautiful Indians. Like, women all over the planet are hot and sexy. And it's like, all men have their preferences. All men, like, some men like big girls, some men like little girls, some men like tall girls, some men like short girls. Yeah. But there's like a girl for every type of man out there. And it's like, for somebody to be like, oh, no matter how hot this chick is, if she's this race, I can't fuck with her. It's like ridiculous. He was like, yo, honestly, if an alien landed on the planet tomorrow and she was green, she could have been green. If that ass is fat, I'm hollering.
I'm clapping cheeks.
It made me laugh so hard because I'm like, the reality of it is, this concept of being upset over this color of your skin is so fucking played out, man. This is 2020. This shit is played out. If you're still running around as a black man talking about I can't date outside my race, listen, if you're a black man and you want to uplift black women, that's fine. But to say like I absolutely just won't date other races is kind of crazy because there are beautiful women in all other races. As a white man, that's like I can't date a Hispanic or a black are you telling me that as a white man that is in the Ku Klux Klan, you cannot smash Halle Berry? That's the thing you're saying to me? Like, you can't get some Beyonce cheeks? Like, this is, like, let's be honest. What you're saying is incomprehensible to me. Like, I can't even understand it. Like, there is no way I could turn down a hot, sexy girl because of the color of her skin. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard. You sound like a fucking moron, like you do. I wish that you die out first because what you're doing is poisoning the human gene pool. Like, your ideals are ridiculous. Yeah. It's stupid. Like you're restricting your offspring. Like, right now you're passing on this nonsense to your son, and now your son is restricted to. I hope, first of all, I hope to God your son doesn't listen to you because he'd be stupid to do so.
I hope he rebels.
Exactly. But you're restricting him to pass up on all the beautiful women of all the different cultures and ethnic backgrounds of the globe because you have some outdated, antiquated, unrealistic, downright stupid ideal that tells you that you're somehow superior with nothing to back that up other than you want to believe that. Like, like, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Just on its face, it's stupid.
That's what, and Susan said this, I actually listened to a podcast, and I've said this my entire fucking life that, it's, this whole thing with said how much melanin is in your skin makes no sense to me because at the end of the day, all of us, every single one of us, we all fucking bleed red. We all have the same heart. We all have the same lungs. I mean, it's literally the only thing that separates us too, for most part, is just the color tone shit too. Is we're all fucking people. I mean, there's like Al was saying too, the differences between races. It's such not even a 1% and it's fucking madness. But the fact that this is 2020 and I mean, so we don't have recorded history of when human beings first started walking and talking, whether we are 10,000 years old or 20,000 or just like, no one actually really knows because no one was alive back then. We can make estimates. But the fact that we're still talking about this shit in 2020 and like, I mean, again, it's 2020. So by the of course, biblical standpoints, this is considered that, 2,020 years have passed. 2,000 years have passed with our species, and we're still obsessed with the fucking the skin color. Holy fuck, really? It's like you think, like I was saying too. Well, right now we have a fucking global pandemic going around, which this global pandemic doesn't play favorites. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, old, young, fat, black, Hispanic.
The virus doesn't care.
And right now
the
too,
virus isn't racist.
Yeah, really.
Listen.
Opportunity.
I'm just trying to go to Area 51 and clap some alien cheeks. Right?
Some tentacle porn and shit.
Area 51, we coming for you.
Facts. Them aliens better watch out. You better not land that UFO by me, because I'm clapping cheeks.
See, I know me.
Have you seen the new Men in Black movie?
Yeah.
The one with the guy from the police store?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth and
Tessa Thompson. You remember the part in that movie where the chick was like, he was like, give me the anti-venom, I'll do anything you want. She was like, anything? Yeah. The next morning, he wakes up in her bed with her tentacles strapped across his chest. Yep. I was like, that's what the fuck I'm talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Get them alien cheeks, my guy.
I'll definitely clap with some alien cheeks.
I know everybody in this fucking room, if Alien would made us stuff too, the alien's gonna fuck everybody but me. So it's like the alien's gonna fuck Susan Allen Jr. It's like, we ain't fucking you. I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck some of a bitch.
Well, no, you already got the lesbians. You're good.
Hey, they'll know that you fucked a lesbian and they'll be like, oh my god, he must be their leader.
Lesbian?
Yeah. Oh boy, that's gonna be an entire podcast in a fucking self. Oh, we got about 10, 12 now. We got some time left to kill.
Hey, I'm telling you, Al, we you know what? We got to make a trip to Area 51 ourselves. Because you know what? They ain't gonna arrest us. They're gonna think we're working. They're gonna think we're janitors.
I'm gonna show up with a whole janitor outfit. Be like, I'm late for my shift.
Where's your military ID? I need a new one.
I left it home. Oh god, I can't go back home to get it. I'm gonna be late.
We're in Nevada, and I work. It's like, okay. I live like an hour away from here. I might as well stay home if I go home. So just give me a new ID.
I'm gonna wait, kill a few minutes. Al said this a while back, and I remember for some reason random conversations, but we were talking to an individual, a coworker and stuff, and Al had to go on break. But I'm not sure how this started. But what was your take? And I'm sure we're gonna piss people off like anything. But Al was mentioning this became a hot topic before Trump even, but like with the whole gun control thing. And I remember you were talking to an individual at work, and to the point where you're like, you know what, then I'm gonna go on break and go get some food and stuff. And the guy's, fuck Big Al and stuff, and fuck Big Al's his view on gun control. And I forgot what's your view on, like, I don't get gun control like anything. It's a hot button topic, but we want to kill 10 minutes, and I'm to the point in this house we have no guns. I don't feel like I need them in this neighborhood. I get why some people do have them for, but I forgot. Like you said, whatever you said to, you kind of like angered this individual. We'll see.
My view on gun control is simply this: responsible gun ownership. Like, I believe that anybody that wants to own a gun should own a gun. Okay. And this is the reality about guns, right? Most people won't say this, but most of the people that own guns are responsible. The thing that brings a lot of pressure on gun owners is that every time that one idiot messes up, it becomes something that's heavily discussed in the news and the media. Yeah. And every time that one person messes up, it's always something like drastic. It's like all it takes is one guy to go shoot up a school and kill, 21 babies. And obviously that's an issue. Like, nobody should have access to that kind of firepower when it's unnecessary. But my thing is, the problem that I always have with people is the understanding that whenever the government tries to do something about gun control, the government understands that their hands are tied, really. They can't, there's not much they could do about it. Yeah. But they have to attempt to do something, because as a congressman, as a senator, you have constituents that you answer to. And when you have people in your district that are screaming for protection from a mass shooter, you have to do something. You can't just say, oh, well, the Constitution, Second Amendment, I can't do nothing. You can't, that can't be your answer. You have to do something to make it look like you're attempting to appease the people. So a lot of times people attempt to pass these laws. The problem becomes now the guys on the other side that don't want to hear any attempt to amend the Second Amendment. They go into full defense mode and they fight against any change or any discussion you try to have. They don't even want to hear what you have to say because you're trying to take away their guns. They always go to the extreme of, these guys want to stop me from being able to own guns.
Yeah.
And it's a wild leap to make, but I get why some people feel that way, because some people have actually lived through an era where guns have been restricted on them, where they used to be able to own this rifle with this amount of rounds, and then a law was passed, and today you're perfectly fine, and then 24 hours goes by, and you're now a criminal, because now you own this magazine or this style of gun. And most people just don't like to be put in that position. They don't like to have to give up firearms, especially if it's the type of weapon that has been passed down through the family. Your grandfather had it. He gave it to your father. Your father gave it to you. You plan to give it to your son. This gun is no longer allowed. What do? You're not going to get rid of it. This is a family heirloom, right? So people get put in that position and they immediately fight against it. But my stance on guns, my personal feeling on guns is everybody has a right to own arms, to bear arms.
Okay.
I understand that just because I have the right to bear arms, not everybody around me is comfortable with me bearing arms. Yeah. So that means that I have to be more responsible and more careful, because I want to own guns, but at the same time, I don't have a right to infringe upon your need to be safe or your need to feel secure in your own home or your own neighborhood. Yeah. So I have to be stringent with my gun. I have to be extra careful. I got to do all the right things with my gun. I can't afford to be in a position where my son could get into my cabinet and load my gun up and go to school, or I can't be in a position where somebody could burglarize my house and have access to my gun and my bullets. I gotta be extra careful with it. A lot of gun owners fall into that place where they are careful. Those few gun owners that don't, sometimes, not often, the statistics backs me up on the fact that most of the time, there's not, every time a one person goes crazy and gets his hand on a gun that is legally owned, that's not the majority of the people. That's like a one-off type of thing. The thing that makes it bad, the thing that makes those situations horrible, is that in every one of those one-off moments, whenever this person gets a gun and goes somewhere and does something, it's a horrible event. That's the problem. It's like this guy goes to Las Vegas with all his rifles and all his guns, and he shoots the place up. That's not a common occurrence. There's not guys hanging out in windows of every hotel shooting up events, but it happened and it was horrible. A lot of people died, and you can't say I can't see your son get murdered on the streets by a deranged lunatic and then tell you, suck it up, man. There's nothing we can do about that. I can't say that to you. You're a parent who just lost their kid to some fucking lunatic, right? So now, if I'm your congressman or your senator, I'm in a position where I got to do everything in my power to make you feel better, and I have to do something to try to control these guns. But at the same time, I got to face backlash from the NRA and every gun owner in the country that feels like, I can't allow these guys to infringe on my right. So it's always going to be that back and forth tug. But me personally, I'm in a space where I feel like everybody who wants to own guns should own guns, but they need to be extra careful with it. You have to be very responsible with your guns, because there are lunatics that's going to be running around with guns doing crazy shit.
So I forgot, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but what caused, when you were talking to this individual, what caused, the disagreement between you two? Because it seems like you're, at least from my standpoint, you sound like you have a perfectly logical explanation to me. I'm not sure why he was so heated. Whereas after you left work, he was like fuck his opinions, and I'm like, I thought he kind of made a sound argument.
Well, the person doesn't want any kind of infringements upon their rights. They don't want any law passed that limits the amount of guns they could own, the amount of bullets they could fire. They don't want anything like that. So somebody telling them that some laws are good laws, some laws that they pass to control guns are good, they don't want to hear that. I don't want anything.
The extremists, which I've seen both sides of the equation, where some people you shouldn't restrict their guns, and I'm like, then again, too, as a individual civilian, I don't think I have the right to go to Walmart and buy a fucking rocket launcher neither. So, some of these guns that they have banned too, it's like there's one thing in protecting your. I've seen these arguments. There's one thing protecting your home. There's one thing to go out and hunt deer or something, hunt animals too. But in all reality, do you need to have 10 pounds of C4 in your basement? Do you need to have grenades and rocket launchers? And do you need to have a fucking tank parked out in your backyard? So it's like, there is a difference between protecting your home and loved ones and going to the extreme. It's like
if we were hunting demons.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's like you said, where people understand that there are gun control laws that are already in place. That's why you can't go out and just buy a fully fucking functional tank that'll shoot rounds down the street. You could buy a tank, but the cannon won't work, right? You can't go out and buy, a rocket launcher or a bazooka or something like that. You could probably get your hands on one on the black market, but you can't legally buy one anywhere.
Exactly.
Because we understand that there are some restrictions that are okay.
Yeah.
So when people get really bent out of shape about, I say this, I get it. I understand why people don't want their rights taken away or changed or amended, because if you start taking that step, it's just one step in the beginning of many steps. I get that people feel that way and they're scared. But the reality of it is, when somebody could walk into a school with a semi-automatic rifle and gun down 20-something children, between the ages of 11 and 5, that's some shit that should never happen in any country. That's honestly, let's be realistic. That's something that should never happen.
Yeah.
Right. So something like that happens and people want to pass it off. There's this comedian, I forgot his name. He's from Australia. He now lives in America. I forgot his name. He's a funny guy. But he had a joke where he talked about when he was in Australia, they had a mass shooting and the government went, hey, you know what? This is bullshit. No more guns. All the Australians went, you know what? That makes sense. Said in America, Sandy Hook happened and this guy mowed down a bunch of children and the government said, we want to take away some of your guns. And everybody went, no, fuck you. Don't touch my guns. Exactly. Right? And it made me laugh because I'm like, this is a very accurate representation of the situation. It's like these guys wanted to take away some of the guns, not all the guns, just restrict some of them. And everybody was offended to the highest caliber.
Yeah, it's like, you people in the government stopped me from defending my home. And I'm like, well, in reality, do you need 19 AK-47s to defend your home?
Well, I don't think it's that much to the extreme. I think the point that some people are trying to say is personally with me, my personal outtake on that is that everybody should be able to have a gun. You want to really stop crime to an extent. Yeah. If everybody is armed, you'll be able to stop crime to a certain extent.
I agree with that, and I've heard many people make that argument. I've also heard people make the counter argument, but I agree with you. And I would feel the safest if all my family members and friends own guns for the reasons of not running the street like a vigilante or a fucking, cowboy or some bullshit. Just, if you're in your home, you should be safe. And not saying that owning a gun is going to guarantee your safety, because it's not, but it ups your chances of survival should something happen. Exactly. Should something happen in your house, it ups your chances of survival. Now, saying that is one thing. Getting your friends and family members to go along with it is a different thing. Because not everybody believes what I believe. Not everybody is so comfortable around guns that they want it in their homes. So those people that want to not have guns but still be able to rely on the police and the government to protect them, that's a right that they have, and nobody should even challenge it or trounce upon it. But I personally feel that responsible gun ownership is key in this country. It's necessity, especially with this thing that just happened recently with what's his name, Aubrey. Mm-hmm. They got killed because he was jogging. And I go online yesterday and I see them bringing up all these old. There's when he was 17, he had this shoplifting charge.
Dude,
when
they do that every single time.
Why are these guys trying to justify murdering this kid? But I feel like, first of all, I can't talk for him because me personally, everybody in this room right now knows that there is never going to be a time when I'm out jogging. but just for the sake of argument, if I'm out anywhere, especially in a neighborhood where I feel like, especially in places where I know for a fact that there are racist people, and I've Like you see people handing out flyers of KKK meetings and all this other stuff. In an area like that, if I live in that area, I'm strapped all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you come to get me, I'm not saying you're not going to kill me, but I promise somebody's going with me. Like, it's not going to be a situation of, I'm dead and everybody's more. It's going to be like, oh shit, they tried to get him. It was a shootout. He killed like 4 people. Yeah, they got him, but he killed like 4 people in the process. That's the situation I want to be in at any given point in time. I don't mind getting killed by a racist if I could take out some of them. If I could take some of them with me.
Yeah, I feel like that too. One of the things is also as well is that there was this one situation where this guy went into this courthouse with, an automatic rifle and started shooting up the place. But then he started to run away when people shot back. You gotta understand that these people that are going around doing these mass shootings are defenseless. Like, the people that they're targeting are defenseless. Now, just imagine, they're not walking up to a military base and doing this.
No.
They're not trying to go, into a bank.
Fucking cowards.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going into all those places. They're going into schools,
theaters, malls,
you know what I'm saying? They're not going to places where people are armed. They're not going where other people are armed. Like, there was that one guy who was bold enough to walk into a courthouse, and started shooting up the courthouse. Yeah. But then, they started shooting back and he ran away because, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately he was killed. But it was just the fact that it's like, if everybody is armed and you got somebody who's brave enough to try to do something like that, we start shooting back, they're going to get scared and go away because of the fact that will stop the mass shootings. Is by arming people more will stop the mass shootings. But by taking away guns, you're leaving people more defenseless and potentially more targets for people to shoot things up.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, and I've seen these comments online, like, oh, well, if this guy went into a school and he had, like, an MP5 or something, or submachine gun, he mowed out 20 kids. Well, the thing is that the guns wasn't a problem, the intent was a problem. He could have knifed them kids. Okay, again, you walk into a school with a fucking machete, the chances of you taking out all the teachers and before the cops get there and you knifing 20 fucking kids, it's a lot more unlikely than you taking a fucking 4 or 5 submachine guns and just fucking spraying. It's like, and they always say that shit.
I hate when people try to make those comparisons of, I saw somebody mow down 3 people with a car. Should we ban cars? Understand, when you say something so stupid, you piss people off for this reason. A gun is a weapon. Exactly. That is its only function. It has no other purpose. Yep. Guns have changed the warfare. There was a point in time where we fought with swords and shields, arrows and spears. Guns revolutionized the war.
Yes.
Guns became so deadly that they replaced every other weapon that we go to war with. Now, when we send soldiers to war, we arm them with guns. They are weapons.
Yep.
A car isn't built as a weapon. A car is built as a device used for transporting, right? Yeah, you could take a car and use it as a weapon, but that's not what it's primarily designed for.
Exactly.
So when you say something like, we could mow people down with cars, should we ban cars? No, we shouldn't ban cars because cars aren't designed to kill. Now, the guys that say, somebody stabbed up this person with a knife. Listen, I'll tell you this, and this is the absolute truth. If me and my friends go out and we're confronted by a guy with a knife, he's only stabbing one person at best before the rest of us beat the shit out of him. If that guy hops out of his car with a semi-automatic weapon or a fully automatic weapon, him by himself with that weapon could take us all out. Exactly. That is the difference. I hate to hear people make these stupid comparisons because they're not real comparisons. Exactly. A man with a knife is not as deadly as a man with an AK-47.
That's a fact.
A man in a car is not as deadly as a man with an AK-47. I'll put it to you like this. I have so much faith in the deadliness of an AK-47 that I would put it up against a man wielding a knife and a man driving a car any day of the week. I would stand on the street with an AK-47 fully confident that not only could I kill that man driving the car, I could also get out of the way of the car before it does me any harm.
Yep.
A man with a knife and me with an AK, that man with the knife stands no chance. Not unless he's right on top. Exactly. He would literally have to be right on top of me with both my hands tied and the AK behind my back for him to stand a chance. There's no comparison.
Never bring a knife to a gunfight.
Straight on top of too, like the people say, the Constitution, like anything too, guys, you have to understand the Constitution, like any kind of laws or history, also needs to be updated. The term "the right to bear arms." Remember, too, when the Constitution was written, you'd fire a single shot, and it takes you 2.5 minutes to reload to a second shot. You weren't mowing down 15 fucking people with one clip back when the Constitution was fucking written. that was a whole different. And plus, too, the right to bear arms was also back in the day when you and your family had a house and bears were attacking and eating your kids.
See, the thing is, I've had that conversation with several people throughout the years, and no matter what you say, because the truth is, the right to bear arms was written into the Constitution in a point in time where we needed to be able to form a militia at any given time. We were newly separated from the Royal Empire of Britain, and at any point in time that they tried to attack, we had to be able to form a militia at the drop of a hat. That means that somebody would run out to the town square, ring a bell, and everybody had to assemble weapons ready. And so everybody had to everybody had to own weapons back then. That was it was necessary for the times. And nowadays, it's not so necessary, but I'll say this. Because we've spent so many decades with these rights, to change the rights arbitrarily with no reasons to back up your changing it, it's always gonna cause people to rise up and be defiant. Like, nobody wants to have to give up that right without you giving us a reason for it. Because this is the fear that a lot of people that bear arms, that legally own guns, they live in this constant fear of, what if one day the government decides to take over and shut us all down, take away our freedoms and this and that, right? And to those people, that's a real threat. And I'm not going to sit here and try to tell them not to be worried or don't think. Like, I honestly could tell you that if one day, just out of the blue, politicians decided, we're going to pass these laws and take away all the guns from American citizens, that's going to make me nervous. Because I'm going to immediately think to myself, if you're taking away, like, what's the point? What's the purpose of you taking away our guns? Even if on the surface there's nothing to suggest that they have any ulterior motives, it's going to make me think, what is the purpose for you right now taking away our guns? Like, you would have a strong argument for it if after something like Sandy Hook happens, where a lone gunman kills a bunch of kids, or any of the dozens of school shootings that's happened, in the past decades, in the past 10 years or so that we've been around, where every other week it's a mass shooting somewhere. At any point in time, after a devastating mass shooting, like after that Nevada mass shooting where he killed, 59 people it was, from his hotel window, like, if after that moment you decided we're going to pass, gun laws that's going to restrict whatever you could own, it would make sense from a standpoint of, a whole bunch of people died unnecessarily. We got to do something to control it. Like, you get a lot of pushback, but for the most part, you'll get a lot of support in the process. Yeah. But if you just if I just got up tomorrow morning without anything happening and they were like, oh, well, we passed these laws overnight and we're coming for all your guns, that's going to make me nervous as fuck. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. That's going to make me say to myself, like, well, why? What's the plan? Like, what are you doing now? Yeah. Like, why are you coming for my guns today when nothing is going on? So...
time to dig a tunnel and go underground, bitches.
It's scary, but at the same time, it makes you, like, a lot of times you realize that some people just have, like, this weird, like, there are gun owners that will tell you, oh, it's the Democrats that want your gun, which I think is a crazy, just on its face, a stupid statement to make. Because every time people say the Democrats want your gun, like, they said when Obama gets elected, he's coming to take your gun. I spent 8 years waiting for Obama to come get my guns. Like, it never happened. Right? It's just that people say...
It's Obama's fault for 9/11.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking stupid ass.
Oh, cool.
It's wild.
We killed 2 hours bullshitting on, as usual, a ton of different fucking topics. So, hey, Susan, Jr., Al, any I already know what Al's going to say, but...
Oh, yeah, you know what's coming.
But Susan, Jr., any last thoughts?
Any last thoughts? I don't hate fat people.
Yeah, you do.
I hate inconsiderate and I hate inconsiderate fat people.
I see the more
inconvenient fat people.
More Fireball's drink, he's just staring at Al. When Al talks, just thinking, he's just in the back of his mind.
That
like,
fat son of a bitch.
I don't think that, Al.
I hope he fucking falls backwards.
I hope your chair breaks, you fat bastard.
I don't think that. I don't hate all fat people, okay? I don't hate all fat people, all right? It's the fucking, oh my God. It's the fact that they're always in my fucking way.
Well, at least we got 2 Chris's prison stories and 2 Junior's dad stories.
Damaged stories.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything you got, Sue?
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking.
Damn! Oh, Jesus Christ.
Al the Destroyer.
Here we have Chris the Destroyer,
clean it
Al
up
the
in a
Destroyer.
So, all right, well, I'm glad that Al finished off my fucking Jack Daniels apple, you prick. But
And boy,
Shut up! You're drinking
smooth.
Fleshmans. You're drinking underage girl liquors. Like, stop it.
All right, guys. As usual, you know what I'm gonna say. You know, support your local neighborhood. Donate to your hospitals, your police stations, your fire departments, your libraries, and your schools.
yeah,
Protect your neighborhood and your neighbors.
you guys know I'm about to say. Oh, I seen this real quick before we started. It just came to me where it's supposedly this guy online. Who knows how true it is because it's the internet. But this guy said he received his stimulus package and said, you know what, fuck Trump. I don't need his fucking money. He took the check, he ripped the check in half, and said that fuck this. I don't want his money. People like me said, really great job, dickhead. What a fucking piece of shit you are. Instead of, if you felt this strongly, how about you go cash the check and give it to, like, homeless people, hospital, school, starving fucking kids? If this check, and if this was true, some people said that he could have, like, direct deposit to his account could be bullshitting. But the fact he made this video where it's like, fuck, I don't want this stimulus check. Okay, then if you feel it strongly about that, go cash the check. Give it to me. I'll take your $1,200, bro. If you don't want it that bad, you know, I'll take Trump's dirty fucking money because I got bills to pay.
The thing is, it ain't Trump's money. It's our money. It's taxpayers' money. It's his own money that he just tore up.
This is the internet
So
for you.
he's fucking stupid if that's a real story. That guy's a moron.
I'll show it to you. But as usual, guys, like we always say, because we're all blue collar losers, and we have our Facebook page up officially, so come join us and shit. And now we can start tagging people and tag us. And again, guys, you know we're on episode like 8 or 9 now. I'm too drunk to remember, but
7.
there you go. If we
No,
said
8.
if we said something in an episode and we're not gonna remember this shit because we're out of it, but like say, hey Chris, during episode 2, minute 30, Junior said something, or Al, you know, we know Al hates women and shit, or you know, Chris hates black people. Just let us know, talk about shit. So just remind us if we said something to
I
piss.
gotta be the woman hater.
we all gotta.
Junior's race, well,
Junior hates fat people.
against fat people.
Yeah. But
We're
Fuck
putting that
Jen
into
because
the
she's
ether.
never here.
yeah. Like anything, guys, like I always end this by saying, hey guys, the 4 of us, we don't want your money. We don't need your money. We got our bills. We got our own paychecks and stuff too. Please, by all means, take care of people that deserve it. Stop giving money to dickheads on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and stuff. Help out people that fucking matter. Support your local. Hey, go tip your waiter. Go tip your garbage man, 'cause I guarantee you don't. So help out people.
Tip the strippers.
And recently too, hey guys, I've talked about real quick. Joe Rogan recently. Now Joe Rogan signed his official Spotify deal. We will start a Twitter account this week, but some people have said this is exactly why we don't check Twitter, because everyone should be happy. They should be praising Joe Rogan, and of course a lot of people, they're shitting all over him. Hey, he went to Spotify. He's leaving YouTube. But Joe is part of why I do this podcast for. The biggest thing Joe said though is, hey guys, I may be going to Spotify. Guess what? My podcast is free. You're going to pay nothing for it. Yes, Spotify may have ads, so doesn't YouTube. But Joe will not fucking charge you a penny for his podcast. Guess what? This podcast, we're not charging you a penny either. Whether it's going to be a year from now, 10 years from now, we get 1 fan, a million fans. I don't want your fucking money. I'm good. I prefer that some honest criticism. Give me a thank you. Tell me that I made your day of work go by a lot better. Tell me, whatever. Like you're frustrated by Junior hating fat people. So, but let us know how we're doing and give us some shit to talk about, because we can only by ourselves think about so much stuff to talk about before it starts getting old, and I don't want this shit to get stale and boring. So that's it for tonight, and hopefully we'll get together on Tuesday, and we're out.